What's going on, everyone? My name is Scorpion and welcome back to the Battle Hub Draft League Season 8 Power Rankings. That's right, it is that time again. Team rating time, 3-hour podcast time, or however long it's going to be this time. But we're here to rate some teams. Now, before I go anywhere, of course, we do have two divisions in Battle Hub Draft League this time. And no, we're not going to be doing the Champions Division, in case you are curious. We have the Scarlet and Violet Division right here, and some of the other members on our team are going to sit down and record the Champions Division later. But it's not all going to be in one video, because again, we'd quite like to not be sitting here rating 15 billion teams and spend 5 hours of our time. But we're looking at the Scarlet and Violet Division. As usual, we're going to be going through every single team, highlighting what we think are the strengths and weaknesses, and also put them on a final tier list to see where they end up and how they stack up to the rest of the rosters. Now, of course, a couple of quick disclaimers out of the way. First of all, the tiers are not going to be ordered, so we are not going to be picking hairs when it comes to tiers that are going to be in the same, teams that are going to be in the same tier. And of course, the most important disclaimers that we also want to say is if we think your team is not good or maybe not optimal, remember, we are not the ones that drafted them, well, with one exception. We might not see visions that you have with your team, and it could be a lot more genius than we might give it credit for. All that this video is if we don't rate your team too highly, it is merely an invitation for you to prove us wrong. We have quite a few powerful teams this time, so we're going to get started right away. But before I do that, allow me to introduce the two guests that are going to help me with rating these teams. The first, of course, is one of my commissioners, BHDL's self-proclaimed #1 analyst. It's Captain B-Nard. Say hi to the people, friend.
Hey everybody, Captain B-Nard back here for another forever long Power Rankings video. Yes, you'll be able to see when you're watching this or hearing this actually how long the video actually is. We're going to try to make it less than the last one. But I'm happy to be back to rate some teams here. And one other thing I did want to mention as well is that these do not take player skill into account either, in addition to being just our opinions. So, please keep that in mind as we are going through these.
Yep. Very good point indeed. That's another important disclaimer. And secondly, we have a very special guest on the horizon, one of the participants in the Scarlet and Violet Division, or in both divisions actually. We have Ab0mlnati0n, first-time guest on the channel, at least for the Power Rankings. Say hi to the people, friend.
I will say bonjour. I am Ab0mlnati0n, yes. Look at me go. I'm the only participant from this trio in this league, because they didn't want to play for some reason.
Well, there you go. Well, I'm a champion, so.
Well, I do have reasons, but we don't want to make this more of a longer endeavor than it already is.
We don't. Listen, this will be the fastest one with me around. Just kidding, it'll be the longest one because I say a lot of uhs and ers.
Don't worry, we're very good at that
only
too.
time will tell.
Yeah, and also we play each other in week 4 of the Champions Division. Thank you very much.
Yes,
there you go.
Yeah. I should have said this division. Did I say league? Because
Yes.
Whoops.
I think so. Well, it's all good.
First botch of the evening. There you go.
Oh, first of many, I will hope. But anyway, we're going to be looking at all 16 teams, and we're going to be going in draft order. So without further ado, we're going to start with the first team, of course, with the lovely team tabs we have in this document. Shout out to Frandy, our lovely Dogmaster. We're going to be having a look at the Canadian Ceruledges, coached by Zachmander. And I'll start off with this one, as I usually do as the host. So, Zachmander, the man of top heavy. Lots of power on this team, I will say. Zachmander's got his roles pretty well covered. We have good priority options on this team. We have 2 pretty solid rockers as well. We have 3 spike users, in fact. That's a nice little luxury. Very, very strong bases there, also with the wall breakers. We've got Ogerpon Wellspring, not Wellspring, Cornerstone. And the Terra Thunder Asterion obviously hits extremely hard. Iron Valiant. Powers in itself, obviously the first Pokemon to be picked on the board. Base is well covered. I really like that this team has a sort of first positive. I really like that this team has a very good sort of top-heavy balance with hard hitters, sweepers, and walls. Right? We've got Ogerpon, I said Wellspring again. I've played too much OU.
Second and third botches of the evening. There you go.
I've played too much OU. I'm too prefer to Ogerpon Wellspring. Ogerpon Cornerstone. I should know because I also won the league with this thing once. But what I was going to say, Ogerpon Cornerstone and Iron Valiant can both be wall breakers and sweepers, which you love to see. Thunderous Therian can also be both, with either choice specs or agility nasty plot. And we've got great walls to support them. We've got the Vaporeon for wish passing, which by the way is also demonic with Ting Lu. We've got the Galarian Slowking, which can chilly reception, support with T-Wave, Regenerator, Core, well not Core, but Regenerator, Pivot by itself. That's great. I honestly think as a basis this team is really strong. I also quite like the Terra Bramblegast, bit of an unexplored Pokemon in our league. It hits really hard with like stat power with Poltergeist, can obviously set spikes, spin, and it's a what's it called? It's also a ghost type, so it's a spiker and a spinner that can't be spun on itself. I actually quite like Bramblegast. The only reason why it's not picked off enough, I feel like it's more of its stats, but Terra can definitely help it out. So honestly, I think quite highly of this team already. However, of course, with Mr. Zachmander, we have all the pros and cons of top-heavy teams, which, spoiler alert, there's a few other teams that have the same philosophy. First of all, priority, and that's another thing you're going to hear a lot in this power rankings. Another spoiler alert. The priority options in this team are a bit lacking. We have Quick Attack on Ogerpon, we have Quick Attack on Vaporeon, I believe, we have Vacuum Wave on Iron Valiant, and we have Shadow Sneak on Bramblegast. But all of these options are 40 base power or below, and they're not boosted by any abilities or anything. So definitely a bit lacking in that regard. Another thing about this team that I'm not a huge fan of is the fact that it looks a little bit on the slower side. And the reason why I say that is because Iron Valiant hits at 116, very respectable, and it can also be boosted further without being locked in with a booster energy. But other than that, our next fastest Pokemon is base 110, which can't hold a Scarf because it's item locked. And then after that we have like 101 and then a 93 base Magmar, So I actually don't I know the whole philosophy of the balance is that speed is not the number one priority, but I don't know, I still feel like especially like below Iron Valiant, there's a bit of exploitable speed gaps there. So that's definitely an issue I have with this team as well. But overall, definitely scary, definitely a powerful team, a little bit predictable, but I do definitely like the core at its base, and I think it's a powerful team, pretty powerful team already, and it's like I said, it's got its bases well covered. But what say you, B-Nard?
All right, so I agree with most of what you said, actually. So first things first, holy crap, what a top-heavy team, right? So Zachmander is infamous for top-heavy teams, as I understand it, and this is no exception. So anytime you see multiple one-point Pokemon on a team just to get you to the 10 Pokemon threshold, that is extremely top-heavy, obviously. But I also agree with something you said where there's a lot of power and role diversity in those top-heavy Pokemon. So you've got the Iron Valiant and the Ogerpon Cornerstone that can fill those fast wall breaker sweeper roles. You've got the bulky Pokemon like the Galarian Slowking, Ting Lu. Let's not forget about the Archaludon either. That thing's sitting pretty low on the list, but it is still a powerhouse. Vaporeon as well is good and bulky, and then Thundurus going back to the speed and power. So I really like the firepower on this team. It has a lot of very immediate threats on the team, so that's a big advantage. The hazard setting ability is really solid. Like you were saying, you've got multiple good rockers, multiple good spikers, and a toxic spiker too, which is nice. I will say I halfway agree with you on the Terra Captains. I do think Thundurus Therian is an amazing Terra Captain. I don't hate Bramblegast as a Pokemon, but I don't know how much Terra is really going to help it. So I don't necessarily like the Terra Bramblegast pick. Additionally, I kind of have a split opinion about the priority. So there are a lot of Pokemon that get low power priority moves. So just as a numbers game, that's not terrible, but there is nothing like a stab, like bullet punch or an extreme speed or anything like that on here. So that is a little bit of a negative. So on both of those points, I do think that it's like a 50-50 positive and negative. The real negatives on this team, in my opinion, are number one, the lack of hazard removal to me. So the only hazard removal on this team is that said Bramblegast. So unless he's really planning, which maybe he is, I don't know, by virtue of the fact that he made it a Terra Captain, maybe he's really planning on leaning on this Bramblegast. But that is the only form of hazard removal on this team, which is not optimal by any stretch, in my opinion. Second thing is pivots. So there are really not a lot of pivots on this team either. You've got Ogerpon Cornerstone and Thundurus Therian. I guess Baton Pass, Dry Baton Pass, or Flip Turn Vaporeon, but that's not a lot, honestly. It's a little lacking in my opinion. The other thing I would say is that this team kind of has a hidden both ghost and fairy weakness to it. And when I say hidden, here's what I mean. So if you look at this team on paper, it's pretty balanced. The type chart's pretty balanced. However, the reason that it's balanced in those two respects are because you've got 2 1-point Pokemon, Munchlax and Magmar, that are countering the fairy weaknesses of your top heavy Pokemon like your Iron Valiant and your Ting-Lu, and your ghost weaknesses of your Galarian Slowking and your Bramblegast. So Bramblegast could Terra out of it. That's another point too. But realistically speaking, you have to think with a team this top heavy, how many games is Munchlax going to come to? How many games is Magmar going to come to? You know, which lends to the last point I want to make, which is the predictability point, at which, you know, again, this team has all the pros and cons of a top heavy team, and that is one of the cons, is the predictability aspect. So with those weaknesses, I just, you know, I think that he's going to find himself in a situation more often than not where he's going to functionally have those weaknesses that could potentially be exploited. But overall, I do agree with you. Really, really solid team, but it is not without its weaknesses. But what say you, Mr. Abomination?
I as well pretty much agree with everything. And talking about your weakness chart, I can add a few more. If I'm erasing Munchlax and Magmar, I can add a very real, I think, ice weakness, because on the chart, Munchlax is going to resist it because of Thick Fat, and Magmar resisted, of course, which means your only real ice resist is going to be that Vaporeon, because your Steel type doesn't resist it. It's going to be Archaludon. So you're going to have a Ting-Lu, and of course Bramblegast and Thundurus can Terra out of the weaknesses. So that's a thing. But here's the thing. If they Terra out of the weaknesses, they also have a ground type weakness, which means they're losing the ground type resist. So there's a lot that you can play with it. There's, I think, ice and ground there as well, and also fire. If you get rid of Munchlax and Magmar, your only fire resist is Vaporeon, because your dragon type is also a steel type. That's why Archaludon's a little awkward, but I mean, it's still really good. And then dragon is completely free except for Iron Valiant, which is immune. Of course, if you lock an outrage and kill something, Iron Valiant will revenge kill you, but it's still kind of free for like Draco Meteors. Now I understand, I mean, Galarian Slowking can eat a Draco Meteor pretty well, but I mean, sometimes it won't. And you mentioned the priority. I just want to add, Magmar gets Mach Punch, I'm pretty sure. I don't think that was
power.
I don't think that was said, but yeah, devastating. You'll never see it coming. That's
very true.
It's good against the Weavils of the world.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, there you go. Goodbye, Weavile. If it was drafted, I don't think it was, but whatever. And then, yeah, you already mentioned the one removal. I am also not really a big fan of Bramblegast. I mean, I understand that really it doesn't have much to do. My lack of faith in this guy in Bramblegast shouldn't be like a negative, but I never see it do well. I know it has Strength Zap and such. Of course, if it Terras out of it, you said it could block Spin. If it Terras out a Ghost, and it can't block Spin anymore, but that's not really... I guess it's not really a problem. But for the most part, I agreed with everything you guys said. And yeah, you were talking about speed. I was going to mention that too. I think you should probably have a guy that's around the 120 at maximum. 116 is fine, especially if you can boost your energy speed. But you don't want to be forced to boost your energy speed every single time, I'd assume. Yeah. Even though it's obviously really good.
Especially on this team.
If you do that, yeah, especially on this team, because you're going to want to... by doing that, you kind of have to save your Iron Valiant for the end, which I don't think you want to do, especially if it's your only dragon immunity. Like, just letting outrages go free is not what you want to do.
Yeah,
I don't think there's really a switch into an outrage. Like, a Ting-Lu can eat one, but if it's like Bandit, it's not taking two. So
yeah, there's a lot of interesting like type interactions on this team that it's going to be like really difficult to like delicately thread the needle with a lot of the type interactions, for sure.
Yeah. With that being said, there's definitely positives. I mean, you already mentioned the wish. I'm so afraid of the monstrous wish that Vaporeon has going into a Tinglu. That'll demoralize, if I'm playing him and that happens, that'll demoralize me, and I will feel like I instantly lost the game if I watch a Tinglu go from low to full. That would be so bad. And then, I know I've been discrediting Munchlax, but I do really think it's a really good 1-point. It walls Chi-Yu very well, so he wanted to hard counter the Chi-Yu that's in there, which Brandon has it, so I can see why he wanted to hard wall it. And then, I don't know what Magmar does. He says he's seen it do stuff before. I don't know what Magmar does. I won't speak on it.
Wrong division.
But also, yeah, there you go. And I think if he had manual rain, here's the thing: he could add manual rain, and he could run like either the Electro Shot, Archelodon, and maybe Thunder on Thunderous. And I thought maybe that would be kind of cool if he could use rain there. But yeah, that's it. I do like the team. I do like it. It's top heavy. It's not what I would do because it's really top heavy. But I do like it. I think it's good, and it's scary. It's definitely scary, despite all the. I know I just said mostly negatives, but it is still good. Just you guys said mostly.
That's what we're here to do, man. We are here to pick. We are here to pick the nits and pick them we have.
Yeah, so. For sure.
Pick them we have.
And top heavy teams are always going to have like, you know, pros and cons on both sides of the spectrum. So, all right, let's get into ranking it though. I feel like I might have a little bit of a higher opinion of this team than you guys. I think, judging by what you guys were saying, it was maybe a high B. I was personally thinking like an A, low A, just because I feel like the top heavy core built very well around Iron Valiant. You can never really go wrong with it. But what do you guys think?
I do agree with you, actually. I agree with A, honestly. I know I said I had a lot of nits to pick, but at the end of the day, like those top heavy Pokemon are insane. You know, the Iron Valiant, Galarian Slowking, Tinglu, Parathundurus, and Ogerpon Cornerstone and Archeludon together are just, that's an insane core. So it's got its issues, but I would agree with A, actually.
I would as well, if I'm being honest. I know I just said a lot of negatives, but there's still, like, you're not going to break this team easily, still. Like, with the weaknesses I just said, like, literal type weaknesses, You're not going to break it. I still say A. I'll agree.
Alright, first team ranked. Let's move, let's waste no further time, and let's move right along to the second team here, which is going to be the Atacama, or some other people know it as the ABCDEFG Tyranitars, coached by Virudu, also known as Virudu from the Discord server. Go ahead and join the Discord server. It's the best place to go for Pokemon Scarlet Violet. Wi-Fi battles in the description down below. Sorry, I just stole his joke. But it rolls
all right,
off the
I'm not
tongue
going to say anything about this team now because I was going to do that. So you took it from me. So I will pass. I'm not going to say anything about his team now.
Oh, I was actually going to pause it to you first. Maybe Al wants to start then.
No, I'll start.
Okay.
I was going to say I'll start. That's fine.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead. Please proceed.
All right. So how mad would you all be at me right now if I did the exact same thing that he just did again?
If you do it again.
I'm going to cut it out of the video.
I'll do it again. Do it again.
All right. So now, because you said you were going to cut it out of the video, no one will know whether I did it or not. So there we go. Intrigue, mystery. All right. So, Virudu, ABCD, Scholar and Violet Wi-Fi battles. You know the deal. This team, I will say, pretty big fan of this team. First thing I noticed about it was good balance and good synergy. So, I like the obvious synergy that you're looking at here is the Terra Excadrill and the Tyranitar. So, one problem that I usually have with weather strategies is that I don't like using I don't like it when the weather setter and the Pokemon that take advantage of the weather are both the same type, and that is obviously not the case here, so I'm a big fan of that. So I like how Excadrill and Tyranitar are completely different typings, so it kind of makes it easier to compensate for, even though they do share a lot of the same weaknesses, it makes it a little bit more balanced. So but I like that a lot. I like that synergy. I like the offensive and defensive balance on the team. So you've got stuff like Excadrill, obviously, that can hit really hard. Terra Chandelure can hit really hard. You've got defensive Pokemon like the Tyranitar, obviously, the Alomomola. Rotom itself is pretty decently defensive. So that's all well and good. I do like the Terra Captains. I know I already kind of touched on that, but I do like the Terra Captain setup on this team. I think that Terra Excadrill in the sand is going to be really, really, really dangerous. So that is a huge one. Terra Chandelure is a good secondary Terra Captain as well. And it's also, I like to split my Terra Captains, typically one physical attacking, one special attacking, and he's done that with that setup. So I like that a lot. I like how many pivots he has on this team too. So a lot of these Pokemon get U-turn. And he's only got one Volt Switcher, but then he's got a lot of Baton Passers, Flip Turn. He's got pretty much all of it as far as pivots go. So that is a big pro in my opinion as well. And I think I already talked about the bulk. Of course, we've got at the end of the list there, we've got the Uxie and the Hydreigon, so we can't forget about those. Definitely really solid Pokemon, one for offense, one for defense. So I do like all those things. On the flip side, there are some negatives. So as I think Scorpion mentioned, one negative to this team and to a lot of these teams is lack of priority. So I would actually say I think the priority situation on this team is probably worse than the priority situation on the last team we looked at, because you've got Aqua Jet on Alomomola and on Uxie, and then you've got Fake Out and Mach Punch on Mienshao, and I think that's it.
Mienshao does not get Mach Punch. It does get Vacuum Wave, and last time I still remember when we were mentioning that in the Season 7 Power Rankings when I had Mienshao, and we were clowning on the fact that the special attack is awful, but it actually isn't. It's actually got a respectable base 95 special attack stat, so that's pretty funny. Now, it's not obviously its dominant attacking stat. You're still not going to be running it very often, and I still completely agree with you. The priority is not ideal, but I just wanted to say that we were clowning on Mienshao special attack last time, and it actually isn't even that bad, so that was a funny thing.
There you go, the vindication one season later. There you go. I stand corrected, no Mach Punch.
Pulling that grudge
that actually makes the priority even worse on this team. So yeah, I'm not a fan of the lack of priority on this team. Another thing I'm not a fan of is the lack of both hazard setting and hazard removal. So he does have a lot of good stealth rockers on this team, and that's cool. However, he's only got one Spiker, and it's Quillfish, and he's only got one Toxic Spiker, and it's Quillfish, and he's got no Sticky Webbers too. Now, granted, he could bring that Quillfish with a Violite and bulky hazard stacking Quillfish. He could definitely do that if he wanted to, but if he doesn't want to do that, then all he has access to is Stealth Rock, and I don't think that that's very ideal. Similarly, and I know I'm going to say something that I've said for the last 7 Power Rankings videos, and I'm going to make it 8 for 8 by saying it on this one too. I full well acknowledge that Excadrill is an amazing spinner. Having said that, once again, it is still only one Pokemon, and I am not a fan of any team setup that has only one form of hazard removal, even if that one form of hazard removal is ideal, like Excadrill. However, I would actually say that for this specific team, it's actually a little bit worse, because if you have Excadrill in a Sand Setter, are you really going to want to spend one of your move slots on Rapid Spin? I don't know about that. So I don't really like the way that that's set up, to be honest, that's his only spinner, and you're probably not going to want to have Rapid Spin on it if it's like a Sand Sweeper. So I don't like that. And then I think those were pretty much the only negatives that I had with the team. The team is a little bit on the slow side too, because he does have the 121 Tornadus, which is really solid, and then he's got the Mienshao at 105, but only 2 of those Pokemon are over base 100 speed, which is a little bit lacking in my opinion. Now granted, if you've got the Sand Rush on Excadrill, then that's going to completely change the game, but that still requires setup and more things to happen in order for that to be a factor. So but yeah, all in all, I do like this team. I do think it is really solid, but again, it's not without its issues. But what would do you want to take the reins, Al, since I stole them from you so unceremoniously? Tell me what you think about this team.
Well, first of all, he has a clean type chart. No obvious clean, like no reds.
I know he was very proud of that. Like
definitely.
he was proudly showing that to me when he was done drafting.
Yes, I didn't even. I'm so sorry, Beardo. I didn't even give you credit for that. And I'm sure, me being the type chart guy, you wanted me to give you your flowers for that. So I'm gonna write that wrong. We're not gonna have to wait a whole season for it. I'm gonna, like with the Mind Shout thing, I'm gonna write that wrong right now and say you balanced your type chart. Well done. Please proceed.
With that being said, I'll still activate my over-analysis type chart and say that Dragon is still good against him, despite it being neutral. His only resistance to the Dragon is going to be that Excadrill, and if he Terra's out of it, that means Dragon is completely free, because there you go. Also, he doesn't have a Fairy type on his team, which is kind of is okay, because he still made a clean chart, but obviously Fairy is one of the best types in the game. And then the speed gap from 121 to 105 is just barely too much. So what that does is anything that has 120 speed can run Modest or Adamant and speed tie with Mienshao with 252 EVs. So the speed gap maximum is 15. If you go 16 like that one is, it allows the Adamant or Modest to be there. So teeny tiny thing for the 120 base speed guys, which I'm only thinking of Inteleon right now. I can't, and Wugtrio. I don't think either of those were drafted, but tiny little niche there. Obviously Terra Excadrill is a very good. He could run Rapid Spin. I was thinking this when you were saying that if he wants to run Sand Force, he could run Rapid Spin to get the speed boost, and then like
that is a possibility. That is true. It is possible.
Because it's just obviously not entirely ideal. You were insulting Quillfish. I'll do the same, but only because he has. Only because he also has an Alomomola, and they're kind of both like the same thing. They're both very physically defensive water types that flip turn out, except for the only difference is Alomomola spends its time wishing, Quillfish spends its time hazard stacking. Really, it's kind of the only difference. Other than that, they're kind of the same thing, a little bit to me anyway. Maybe you can prove me wrong with that. So I don't think he's going to bring both of them. So if he wants to bring spikes, he's probably not going to bring a little Mola, and which will take a weight off of everyone's shoulders if they don't see that thing, because it's just such a wall. And then what else do I see? You were talking about priority already. I absolutely agree. It's not there, but it's kind of fine, because you have a Sandrush Excadrill, which will most likely outspeed anything you want, but then you need the sand, of course.
Is it really fine though? I don't know about that. Sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, if you have sand, in my head, the point of priority is to stop something from sweeping. So if you have sand up and Excadrill comes in, he'll probably be able to outspeed whatever the thing you're trying to stop from sweeping.
Sure.
That's just my head. That's kind of why priority is important to me, is just to stop that from happening. Like an Exeggutor, for example. And then we got. I guess that's pretty much everything I can think of. But I don't see anything on the weekly start other than that Dragon. That's pretty good. Let's see. Let me just 1 second. I could see, and then I guess Fairy is not. No. He's good with Fairy. Like I said, he didn't have a Fairy type. But other than that, I think it's pretty clean. Like, I really like Uxie. That's one of my go-tos. I'm going to get it again because I was shiny hunting it, but I needed Azelf's speed tier, not to talk about mine. But anyway, Uxie is really good. I guess he has a lot of guys within the 80 to 90 speed, like, squished together. So that maybe could be exploited, but I don't have a reason why in my head. But it's just kind of.
Well, maybe Scorpion can think of a reason why.
Maybe Scorpion. I'm sorry. Scorpion totally hasn't even spoken yet.
Speaking.
Go ahead, Scorpion. I won't take everything. Go ahead. Please proceed.
No, thank you very much. Most of what I wanted to say has already been said, to be honest. I'll keep this brief. Well, I'm shocked neither of you guys mentioned is that this team has a triple regenerator core. We have Tornadus Therian, we have Alamomola, and we have Mienshao. That is a demonic regenerator core. So this team can play the long game, no problem if it wants to. And I actually really like that because, in my opinion, a team that can play the long game like that is not as overly afraid of something like getting out of control super quickly and taking over the game. So the lack of priority, I mean, it is still a fundamental issue, don't get me wrong. I do take offense to it, but if it's a team like this can more easily survive without priority than like a hyper offense team. So that's something.
Sure.
I also, like you said, I really appreciate the Tyranitar plus Terra Excadrill core. I think Terra Excadrill with Sand is a super versatile Pokemon. It can do a lot of different things. Also offsets the speed problem a little bit that we talked about earlier. I love the Terra Captain on this team. I actually quite like Terra Chandelure on this team as well. I've considered Chandelure as a Terra Captain myself many times when I was drafting. And I really like it in this case because over in the Champions Division I have Mega Chandelure. So Beardo and I are Chandelure bros. One thing I'm surprised that B-Nard didn't mention is that I think this is, and we're going to get to the other word later, let's not drop it just yet, but I think this is actually a very deep roster because, especially contrary to the other one that we just had a look at, all of the Pokemon on this team are very usable. You know, we've got the Rotom and the Quillfish and some of the lower picks, but no one's going to argue that these mons are bad. On the contrary, I love the Rotom last season. I think Al's a fan of it as well. And his last pick was a freaking Hydreigon, you know, so very unpredictable, I think, what this team is going to bring on a weekly basis. I think that's also a huge plus. And yeah, I also don't have much negative to say. Most of what I wanted to say has already been said. Another thing I want to say about this team that you guys were wrong about, or at least B-Nard was, is that this is regular Quillfish. Regular Quillfish cannot hold a Violite. Only the Hisuian one can. Because that one evolves into Overquill.
Oh, right, yeah.
But that does open up the possibility.
That's what he gets for not playing Legends Arceus. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, exactly.
Fact. I mean, Legends Arceus is a good game. Go play it. But it does obviously open the doors for like Black Sludge and Rocky Helmet, which is nice. And one thing that I will say I really like about regular Quillfish that is a big detriment on Hisuian Quillfish is that this Quillfish gets Flip Turn, but the Hisuian one does not. So this one gets to keep up momentum, and that's a big deal. So I actually...
Yep.
I mean, I would personally prefer this one over the Hisui one, despite the lack of a Violite. So I think this is actually a really strong team. I'm very torn on this one. Let's get to ranking this, because I'm pretty much everything else I wanted to say has already been said. I personally like this team more than Zachmanders. I'll be upfront about that. I'm very close to putting it like high A or low S, because I think it's really strong. Like I said, the deep roster for me is a big plus. The fact that all of these mons, like, it's going to be super difficult to predict what comes. I don't know, what say you guys?
I would definitely not put it in S personally. I would put it in A because the core and the synergy is really good, but there's definitely enough wrong with it to keep it out of S for me personally.
Okay, Al?
I thought I was gonna put it in low S. Because honestly, when you're making a weather team, most of the time you're gonna have weaknesses like on your weakness chart. But he managed to do it without doing that. I think it's really good. I personally think it's S. Lack of priority doesn't really. I mean, last season I had one priority and I did fine. I think he could do just well. I think he could do perfectly. And I had one more negative, by the way, to say about it that I noticed when you were talking, Scorpion, if I may.
Of course.
He doesn't have too much special defense on this team. He just kind of has Tyranitar in the sand and Uxie. Everything else doesn't really have a good, high special defense. Like, he has really good physical defense, but a little low on the special defense, but that's all.
He's got good AV
That's all I
users,
want to say.
Like Alamomola,
yes.
Alamomola, Tornadus, even Mienshao is a good Assault Vest user.
Yeah, and I guess, and Hydreigon can do it too.
Yeah.
So I guess we didn't solve your problem, Scorpion. So it's back to you. The other thing that kind of keeps it out of S for me personally is the hazard situation on the team. But you know.
Oh, you just reminded me about that. Maybe I will. Okay. Okay. You know what, Scorpion, you can just be the tiebreaker.
Okay. So again, for me, it's a difficult one because to me the hazard situation is not as big of a deal breaker because in my opinion, one spikes user is fine, and Quillfish is great at setting up spikes, and he's got a lot of rockers. it's just the priority. I'm thinking about, like, does the priority keep it out of S tier for me? And I think I don't know. I think not by itself, but with everything else you guys mentioned, I think it does. I think it's definitely higher than Zachmander. I'm gonna put it in low A for now. Sorry, Beardo, but your team's...
Low A, whoa.
Oh, sorry, high A, excuse me.
You mean high A? There you go.
Yeah.
I was like, you were thinking about S and you dropped all the way down to
No,
low A.
no, sorry, I misspoke. But yeah,
It's
extremely
like,
solid
man,
team,
those
but-
Aqua Jets really killed it for me.
Yeah. No, I think for me, like, an S tier team should be fundamentally excellent all around, and I think this team has enough fundamental problems to just keep it out of there. All right, next coach. Moving on to our first newcomer here, we have Nitor, coach of the Death Valley Houndooms. Al, you want to start off with this one?
Uh-oh, do I? Okay, sure. We got, on the site chart, I see a little bit of a water weakness, especially because one of your guys is going to be a Leafeon, and you have 3 weaknesses. 2 of them are 2 guys that you're probably going to bring to most games. That's going to be Great Tusk and Heatran. We got a fighting weakness, but 2 of the things is going to be Snorlax and, well, Rampardos. Snorlax can come to a few amount of games, and then of course Heatran again. And for resistances, you do have a Galarian Weezing though, and an Annihilape that's immune to it. That's going to be really good, and of course Kricketune. And then flying is a weakness. Rampardos resists. Heatran and Raichu resist. Of course, you can Terra out of the flying resistance with Raichu, and then you got multiple guys between Leafeon, but Annihilape and Great Tusk, and you're going to be weak to those flying moves, and Kricketune, whatever. And then a fairy weakness, slight, but if you have a Heatran that resisted quad ×4 resistance and a Galarian Weezing, that should be just fine. Of course, though, Annihilape and Great Tusk, but I believe Annihilape is the Terra Captain. It is, and it's a monstrous Terra Captain. I noticed a lot of Terra Captains this season cost like 20 or more points, or are those huge, monstrous ones. And this is another one of those. And even his other Terra Captain is Raichu. That's not even bad. That's a really good Terra Captain. I love me the fast electrics that can Terra. Of course, fantastic speed tiers. I think. Yes, Vodican. Legend. The legend, one-shotted by Jet Punch.
Never forget. Never forget.
That was season 4, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. That was season 4. We're still hung up about it.
And we're in season 8 right now.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Hey, listen. It was dreadful. Okay. Speed tiers are pretty good. I think we got 122 to 110. We got 2 110 users. Whatever. Not dropping down to 95 Leafeon. There's no gap that I really see that's more than 15, I think. No, there's not. And then we go down here, we're talking about the removal. This is definitely the best, in my opinion, hazard game that we've seen so far out of the 3 teams. 4 Stealth Rock users, Rampardos and Annihilape are probably not going to use it. If they are, then wow. But both Great Tusk and Heatran are very good at doing it. Greninja can Spikes. That's pretty good, and it can Toxic Spikes, and Galarian Weezing can also Toxic Spikes. And then, of course, we got the Sticky Web, Sneaky, Kricketune. Just having Sticky Web means you gotta worry about it. It's just that simple. And then, his removal is really good. I mean, Great Tusk is the best Rapid Spinner in the game, in my opinion. It's better than Terapagos. In my opinion, I have Terapagos. I think it's better than Terapagos. And then we got Defog on Galarian Weezing. That's just... You're not going to get hazards on this guy, and even if you do, they're not even that good. I mean, he resists rock very well with Annihilape and Great Tusk, and his fire isn't weak to them. So, I mean, hazards are not good against him, which is really good because hazards are busted. A little bit low on the momentum. We got U-turn and on Annihilape and Greninja, and then Volt Switch, of course. We got a few Baton Passers, Latias, Baton Pass. But, I mean, Baton Pass is not that good, but we got good, decent, well, priority with mostly Greninja, but that's your fastest guy already, so it running priority. I mean, Water Sure gets signature move, so he could do that. Apparently, I didn't know this, Annihilape learns a Vacuum Wave. That's not going to happen, but, I mean, it can. Oh, Shadow Sneak Greninja again. Look at that. But with all of that, I mean, I really like his Dragon Fairy. Where's his fairy? His fairy is
Galarian Weezing.
Galarian Weezing. Yeah, I really enjoy his Dragon Fairy Steel. I think that's really good. I was looking at Heatran a lot. Latios is obviously very good. Fire Water Grass is also pretty good. Just Leafeon without Sun is a little bit whatever, but I mean
a bench warmer, that's what it is. King Burrow would know.
Yes, exactly. Yes, he will. He absolutely will. I mean, because if you're gonna bring, you're just gonna bring Kricketune probably, and then Rampardos is. I like the sneaky Rampardos because it's got a monstrous attack. It's like 160 or something. It's 165. Is that right? I think that's right.
Yes,
it's a monster.
I believe so.
And then Snorlax as well. It allows him to cover up the ice weakness that he would otherwise have without that thick fat. I think, yeah, if I erase that, yeah, he would. No, it would be neutral. Just kidding. But that's about it. That's about everything I can see. I mean, I love it. I really like Great Tusk. It's fantastic, and Heatran. I really like it. I think it's pretty good. But who's after me? Scorpion's after me?
I think so. Yeah.
What do you think?
Okay, so agree with a lot of what you said. One thing I will say about this team, I'll just kind of talk about the synergy that I noticed. This is a really, really strong kind of textbook bulky offense team. We've got a really nice bulky offense core with Great Tusk, Heatran, Galarian Weezing, and Latias. I sort of really like the synergy between those four, both offensively and defensively. Big fan of the Terra Captains, like Al said. Annihilate, a definite S-tier Terra Captain on the board this season, as it was last season too. Terra Raichu, Terra Electrics, always good. So a big fan of that synergy there. I also feel like this team is a little bit reminiscent of an old BHDL veteran, which we sadly haven't seen in a while, but I'm sure at least B-Nard remembers Icy Dude. And he was always He was always a big fan of the Annihilate or Terra Annihilate with a lot of hazards. And this team more or less does the same, although we only have one spiker. But Greninja's, in my opinion, pretty good at spiking because it forces a lot of switches. But we have a lot of rocks, and with that, so I really like the idea of that. Obviously, we have Annihilate that can block spin, and even if it terrors, it still punishes Defog really, really hard. Like, if you hit Annihilate once, and it's Scarf, right, and you boost its Rage Fist, like, freaking good luck. Especially if you give it a Defiant boost. So, I've always been a big fan of that sort of archetype. Never quite got to try it myself, but I do really like the idea of Superstar Annihilate plus lots of hazards. That's always good, especially because it also allows you to like get things in range of Rage Fist, which hasn't been nerfed yet in this game. Got nerfed in Champions, but in this game it's still broken. So enjoy dealing with that. As far as some of the weaknesses on this team, so I'm not a huge fan of the priority, like Al touched upon earlier. We have like Vacuum Wave and Annihilate, that's not great. We have Water Shuriken and Greninja, like the only strong form of priority we really have here. Outside of that, that's also just like quick attacks. Just Game Freak, please give Rampardos a Cellar already. Like, thank you very much. One thing,
if only.
Another thing that I don't really like about this team, and I'm not sure if you guys agree, this is definitely more of a personal take. I don't know too well about the special firepower on this team. Like, physical firepower, we've got Great Tusk, we've got Rampardos, we've got Annihilate.
You're right.
We're good. But on the special side, your strongest special attacker, at least stats-wise, is Heatran, you know? Like, and like, Latias, obviously, the weaker of the Lati twins, it can still drop Dracos, Mist Ball, or like Psychic or whatnot. They are powerful moves in their own right, but it's not a powerhouse superstar, especially because it's not a Terra Captain. I mean, it's not allowed to be a Terra Captain, but still. And he also had Terra Greninja at one point, but swapped it to Annihilate. So, and Greninja, for all its strengths, its special attack set is actually only 103, and there's no Ash Greninja in this game. So, I actually don't love the special firepower on this team. I feel like the special attackers don't hit as hard as they perhaps could. Because again, Heatran...
May I plug something on that? Sorry.
Go ahead.
To interrupt. I just have the average numbers here on the team, and his average attack is 106, and his average special attack is 79. So you're absolutely correct.
Wow, that's quite even steeper than I thought. But there you go. So that's something that I was not a huge fan of. And then the other thing, I don't know if Al mentioned this. I think he did, but there is effectively because of the fact that Leafeon, let's be honest, is going to warm the bench most of the games. You have a speed gap between Raichu and Latias at 110 and to Annihilate at 90, and especially Terra Annihilate. Terra Annihilate loves to run setup more often than Scarf or like other sets. So if you're gonna run bulky sets on Annihilate, then your next fastest Pokemon is Great Tusk. That's a huge, like, you're gonna run into that Season 4 Owl Ogerpon problem where every Ogerpon runs Adamant against you.
Oh, no.
So that's not also ideal. I'm not a big fan of that. And then actually that's all of the weaknesses that I have. But still, I do fundamentally, again, I do love the bulky offense core on this team. There's quite a few powerful mons, but there definitely are some notable weaknesses as well. I think the special firepower, especially, and the lack of priority is a deal breaker for me. What say you, Capt B-Nard?
All right, so yeah, I agree with most of what you guys said. Holy crap is I feel like I feel like we talked about Zachmander's team being top heavy, right? So I feel like when Nidor saw Zachmander building his team, he was like, "Hold my beer." He had a hold my beer moment. He was like, "You think that's a top heavy team?
Watch this.
Let me show you how many." Yeah, watch this. I'll show you how many 1-pointers I can draft. No, but so this is a top heavy team for better or worse, but it is built a little bit differently than Zach's top heavy team. So I agree with the bulky offense analysis that you gave, Scorpion, and I do love me some bulky offense. I really do, and this team does do a great job of that with the Great Tusk, the Heatran, Latias, Weezing, Annihilate. So that's all well and good. I do like the Terra captains, as you guys did as well. Terra Annihilate is a monster, no questions asked. I like that. I also agree with what Al said about the hazard removing. Best we've seen so far, not even close to the other two. On the flip side, there are quite a few negatives. The hazard game is a very big positive, because Greninja, in my opinion, is one of the few fast, frail Pokemon that can really pull off hazards because of Protean very well. So I think that's all well and good. So I like all that, but on the flip side, I think the type chart for this team is really not very good. Al kind of, mentioned most of it. The only thing I'll add to what he was talking about with the type charts was there's sort of a hidden ground weakness on this team, because you've got a lot of Pokemon. You've got the Raichu, the Heatran, the Weezing, Galarian Weezing, if it doesn't run Levitate, which I can tell you from experience, having drafted Galarian Weezing and kind of crashed and burned with it, is that it doesn't really like to run Levitate, but then if you don't run Levitate, it's got that nasty ground weakness. You got the Rampardos also, and your ground resistances are like a Leafeon and a Kricketune, so like that, and then the Latias obviously, but another Levitator, another B-Nard strategy there with the Levitators, so that's, you love to see that.
Oh.
But so yeah, if you take all that away, that kind of leaves you with a little bit of a hidden ground weakness on this team that could be exploited, I think. The lack of special firepower, I 100% see and agree with that as well. Outside of like Latias or Heatran, there's not a lot going on there on the special side. Last thing I will say is, it's kind of awkward going back to the team composition. It's kind of awkward that this is an 11 Pokemon roster, but yet there's those multiple 1-pointers on there. So it's not like he was drafting multiple 1-pointers to like get to that 10 Pokemon threshold. So I feel like he would have been better served, instead of drafting like Rampardos and say like Leafeon, for example, just putting all those points into like a really solid 4-point pick instead. Which leads to, and I know you've all been waiting for this moment since the season.
Do it. Do it.
I feel like this roster is bracing for impact a little shallow.
There it is. There it is. There it is.
All right, we can print it off, and so we're done here. To the other 12 coaches, sorry, or 15 coaches.
No for future Scorp. No for editing Scorp. Don't forget to put in the shallow bomb sound effect.
Oh no! You don't have to make that more dramatic than it already was.
That's not.
It doesn't.
That's the showmanship.
It doesn't deserve to be, but it still does because it's iconic.
Yes,
indeed. I appreciate that.
It's iconic for all the wrong reasons, but it's still iconic.
You say wrong reasons, I say right reasons, but but anyway, I do like this team, but I do think there are definitely some noticeable issues with it that could be fixed with maybe some transactions, but yeah, there are definitely some issues here. So, but what do you guys think as far as ranking?
Let's look at it.
I just have one more. There's a thing that I thought of when you guys were talking.
Go ahead.
And also, I noticed this. For some reason on my dock, all of Latias's resistances and weaknesses were not counted on the list. So he is not weak to water, and he is not weak to fighting. I apologize. But he does have a bigger fairy weakness than I previously thought. That's 4 weaknesses to 2 resistances, which is bad.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Fairy, flying, ground. These are problems. But
yeah,
indeed.
And then both of his ground immunities, when you spoke about it, they're both levitators. So if something's got mold breaker, it can really, for that ground weakness,
get that gravity gaming going.
Yeah,
yes.
Or gravity, but I mean that would counter the flying type as well. But
that's true.
I'm just saying, because he doesn't have a flying type and he's relying on levitate, it's slightly more nichely exploited.
Yep.
It's a little less reliable. That's fair.
Well, all right, what were you thinking?
So, but
I'll be honest with you guys. I'm leaning more toward B for this team, quite honestly. I mean, I do like a lot of things about it, but I think there's enough wrong with it that probably knocks it down to B. But what do you guys think?
I think I agree, personally. Not much else to say, really.
Yeah, I hate to say it because I really like Great Tusk, but I think I agree.
It's still a high beat, though. There's by no means a bad team, on the contrary, but it's just...
No, not at all. It's not a bad team by any stretch, but,
All right.
No, it's not. It's not. You're absolutely right.
That's another one ranked. Let's move on to number 4, which is the man of the hour himself in the call with us, Abomination, coach of the Athabasca Miltanks. Normally,
or the AB0mlnati0n, as
do we want to go with
that hard to say. Come on.
Do we want to go with the the order we were going, where it's like I take the lead on this one, or do you want to make a special occasion for this one, Cap? You want to go first?
If you don't mind. Yeah. So let me tell you guys about this team. I have seen some shitty teams.
Oh, here we go again.
Okay. Oh, that's so.
I'm just messing with you.
Yes, I understand. I understand.
All right.
Please
so we're gonna break break the order. Yes. So the Abomination, my pal Al, taking the next stab at it in the draft. So. So as far as this goes, I will say first thing I noticed about this team is it is pretty balanced as far as he's got a lot of solid defensive Pokemon. He's got some good offenses as well. So you've got the speed with the Jolteon, obviously, that the iconic Alpic, the legendary Vatican, as he likes to refer to it.
Yes.
So that's and that as a Terra Captain is solid. That's going to feed to one of my first big points I want to make about the team is that this is one of my favorite Terra Captain setups of any of these teams this season, to be honest with you guys, because I think he has 3 very solid Terra Captains, 3 solid Pokemon that all greatly benefit from Terra. So Terra Jolteon, that goes without saying, you get the extra coverage if you want to go that way with, Terra Blast, Ice, get that Bolt Beam coverage going, or whatever other coverage you might need. So Jolteon benefits greatly from Terra. Haxorus, same deal, changing from Dragon to say Steel, for example, massive advantage. But then we've got the Wu Chen, which has been like a little bit of a black sheep of BHDL. No one's ever really drafted it or done too much with it in our league, but it's another Pokemon that benefits immensely from Terra. You get rid of that awful dark grass typing when you die to a U-turn from a Cricketune, and you're off to the races like that. I think Wu Chen could actually really shine as a Terra Captain. So I really like the Terra Captain setup on this team. I think it's one of the best in the Scarlet and Violet division. So that's a big plus. Going back to the roster, so I like the speed tiers on this team. He's got obviously Jolteon's fast, Azelf is fast, Cobalion is relatively fast, and then you've got like good, tiers going down. So that's a plus. one thing I will say about this team that is the flip side of what I just said about the last team is I actually do think this is a deep roster as well. We were talking about, I think, Beardoo it was that had a deep roster, but I would say this is also a deep roster because you've got even like the lower point picks like the Muck and the Sandaconda, like those are still extremely viable Pokemon that could come on any given week. So I like that. I do like the type balancing on this team. There's only really one weakness that I found on this team that I'll get to in a second. But I do like the type balancing on this team for the most part. It is very solid. And I do like the pivots on this team too. You've got a couple of U-turners, a couple of Volt Switchers, a couple of Baton Passers, a Flip Turn. So I do like all that as well. So a lot of positives here, but on the flip side, there are some negatives. So I would say the first negatives, going to the type chart is I do think there's a bit of an ice weakness on this team, which granted I think you can fix because two of your ice weaknesses are Terra Captains, so you can Terra out of that potentially. So perhaps not as big of an issue. But that is still a little bit of a negative. I will also say something that we've been saying about a lot of these teams is that I don't think the priority game on this team is very solid either because you've got like Shadow Sneak Muck, you've got I think Aquajet Basculegion and like Quick Attack Jolteon, which doesn't like to run Quick Attack for obvious reasons. I don't think there's really anything else outside. I could be missing something, but I don't really think there's anything else outside of that. I guess there's First Impressions Haxorus. I'm missing that. I forgot about that. So First Impressions it's a good move, but it's limited in its application as well. So I don't know. That's a mixed bag for me. But I will say I'm not like a big fan of the hazard setup on this team either, because he's kind of got the same problem that Beardoo has in the sense that he's got a lot of really, really good stealth rockers. So obviously Clefable, Terrapagos. We didn't even talk about Terrapagos, obviously the undying tank that it is. Great pick, by the way. But you've got those, you've got the Cobalion, the Sandaconda, even the Azelf are all very reliable stealth rockers. But then you don't have any spikers. You've got the Muck as a toxic spiker, which is it's okay. Like, but Muck is a Pokemon, obviously, that's not going to come to every game or even close to it. So it's not a Terra Captain either. So that doesn't add any more, value to it. So it's hard to, when that's your only toxic spiker, it's like pretty limited in its application. No sticky webbers, obviously. And then on the flip side as well, with the hazard removal, it's only the Terrapagos, which again, Terrapagos is obviously a premier rapid spinner, one of the best in the game. But at the end of the day, it's still only one form of hazard control, and I do have to knock it a little bit for that. I do agree with something you said earlier where you mentioned that Great Tusk is in your opinion, a better rapid spinner than Terrapagos, and I would agree with that. And one thing that I don't know if I've ever said this before actually, but one thing that I don't like is I don't like running rapid spin on like special attacking Pokemon. And I know you could put physical attacks on Terrapagos, but I don't know. I do think that's probably why one of the big reasons why Great Tusk is a better rapid spinner is because it's got like that naturally very high physical attack stat. So it's conducive to having rapid spin versus other Pokemon like that. Or like if you run rapid spin on Tatsugiri, for example, it's just like you get even less value out of it because your physical attack stat isn't very good. So yeah, I don't like that that's the only form of hazard removal, although I know many of you will disagree with me, but I will stand by that till the day that I quit Pokemon. But other than that, I will say that this is a really solid looking team. Just the bulk on this team alone, the combination of the bulk and the offenses is nice, but the bulk with the Terrapagos, the Clefable, Moltres can do either or, which is really nice. As we've seen, I know Al's drafted Moltres before and put it to great use. So the versatility of the Azelf is really nice too. The power of the Haxorus and the Jolteon. So it is a really solid team all in all, but I do have a couple of those issues with it. But what say you, Scorpion?
Yeah, so agree with a lot of the things you said. Not everything, but we'll get to that. But this is a very solid team, like you've been saying. My opinion as well, I'm going to only mention it very briefly, but I love the Terra captain setup on this team as well. Not only because all three of them greatly benefit from Terra, but they also have completely varying roles, right? Jolteon, fast, special attacker, Haxorus, mid-speed tier, extremely strong physical attacker, and then Wo-Chien, defensive wall, right? Beardoo is the only other person that has attempted to use Terra Wo-Chien in the leagues past before, and he did incredible with it. So definitely a big fan of that as well. So yeah, great synergy there. And speaking of Wo-Chien and just bulk in general, this team, Al obviously, famous for drafting very bulky teams. This team is no exception, but lots of synergistic bulk here. I like the Moltres a lot on this team because we have Terrapagos. I personally think that Moltres becomes a lot better if you have a premier spinner, and we have one, so that's great. We have the Clefable, obviously, Shisonki, Al Superstar, great bond there. Definitely, that also leads to my next point, very deep roster in general, like you said. There is one tiny nitpick I have with that, which I'll get to in a minute. But I actually like a lot of the picks on this team. I also really appreciate the Cobalion on this team. And the reason why I say this is because I always think Cobalion is a Pokemon that is actually very, very well fit for draft. But it just often struggles to fit onto teams because it has the same problem that our Chaladon has, as being a steel that doesn't resist fairy. But this team accounts for that, so that's always a big positive, and it fits very well on this team. I'm a very big fan of Cobalion for that reason. Now, I think I've not got a lot of negatives to say about this team. I think it's a really, really powerful team. There are a couple of nitpicks that I have. First of is with the deep roster. This team has a deep roster, by all accounts it does. My only small nitpick with it is I don't like that Sandaconda is your ground type. I personally always believe that some of the best teams go for premier ground types. Ground is a super important type to have. Now, is Sandaconda a bad ground type? No, not at all. It has amazing bulk. Does it have reliable recovery? Not reliable recovery, but I think it uses rest a little bit more reliable than other Pokemon do because of Shed Skin. Has Glare as well, which is an incredible tool. But again, I still prefer my ground type to be like among the top end of the draft board. So it being your only ground type, not a huge fan of that. No spikes as well, to me, again, not a huge deal break. I know that the opinions are a bit divided on whether spikes are necessary for a good draft. Me personally, I do think it is. Now, does that mean that this team is bad? No, of course not, but I would personally always go out of my way to include a spiker on a team. This team doesn't have one. And lastly, even though the Terra captains are amazing, Haxorus can definitely function without Terra. It can. But Jolteon and Wo-Chien are going to be tough to bring to the same game if one of them wants to Terra. So that's definitely something that limits the roster viability a little bit. One positive I want to say about this team, though, which I think B-Nard noted as a negative, is the priority. I actually think the priority in this team is more than sufficient. And the reason why that is because Haxorus is a Terra captain, and I know we're not going to be running this every week, but Terra Bug First Impression hits like a truck. We also have adaptability boosted Aqua Jets from Basket Legion as a possibility, and we also have Stab Vacuum Wave from Cobalion, which has a very respectable special attack. Its attack and special attack are actually the same, and unlike Virizion, it doesn't hit like a wet noodle. So, I actually think the priority on this team is sufficient, and I quite like it for that. So, again, my only real gripe with this team is just Sandaconda and lack of spikes. But other than that, really big fan of this team. I think Terrapagos fits very well in it. It enables a lot of the pieces on this team. And a good mix of, like I said, power, bulk, and pivoting as well. So I actually really like this team. But Al, have you got anything you want to say for yourself about your own team?
I like my own team. That's all. He was mentioned my ice weakness. That's all. And I did notice that too. And I was like, it was bothering me, and I was trying to fix it. But then I was like, okay,
fine.
I
know B-Nard is going to rip me to shreds on this power rankings video. That I know it's going to happen. And
okay.
I can imagine.
Well,
to be honest, ice is one of those types where it's it's difficult to patch that weakness up to begin. Obviously there are still weaknesses, but I personally feel there's in my opinion there's 3 types which you can afford to be weak to because they're very hard to patch up: ice, ground, and ghost. Those are the 3 types in my opinion that if you are weak to them, you can get away with it because lots of teams are naturally.
Fair.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
And I did try to fix it, but I mean, 2 out of 3 of those weaknesses are Terra captains, like he said.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Right, so yeah, I won't say that much. I like my team.
Alright, let's get to ranking.
I like
Yeah,
my
I would like to say one more thing is that I totally didn't even know that Cobalion got Vacuum Wave, so I stand corrected
Yeah,
on the
I knew you didn't. Of course you didn't. Well, I knew you'd doubt me. I knew you'd doubt me.
Where's
just my.
where's the B
don't take
button
it
now?
personally.
Where's the B button?
The B button. B, what B button? I don't understand. B button?
What did B-Nard do by forgetting about Vacuum Wave Cobalion? What?
Watch.
I don't know. I don't know. Oh, he betrayed me. I
Yes.
He betrayed me.
Thank you very much.
There's the B button. Oh, and I guess I do agree. My one hazard removal, I don't like it either. I wanted Corviknight again, of course, because I always do, but it was taken from me, but whatever. It's fine. I can handle one hazard removal.
At least it's the Rapagos. At least it's not like, I don't know, insert Avalug here.
Yes,
Yeah.
insert Avalug. At least it's dropping.
You have it.
Alright, what are we thinking ranking-wise? I personally, I'm going to say it, this is the first team of which I have too little nits to pick to put it anything in that's not S. I don't think it's a perfect team, but I think that the weaknesses that I have, like I said, with the nitpick on lack of spikes and Santa Clara being your only ground, I don't think that's enough for me to keep it out of S. I think it's good enough for that, but what say you guys?
Yeah, I have a few more nits to pick with it than you, but I will still agree with you. Like, I hadn't even thought about the Terra Captain thing, but you're right about that. But I don't think that there's enough wrong with this team to keep it out of S either. It is a really solid team top to bottom on paper, so I would also say S.
Hey, I knew you guys would not betray me.
Hey, there you go. Well, we didn't betray you, but I could already hear the comments typing of the first person in the call we put in S tier. Or at least the only one in this case, but we always...
Hashtag rigged.
Yeah.
Hashtag rigged.
Tends to be a thing.
Rigged.
Even though I don't think the allegations in that regard have been as bad in the past few seasons, but it's still a funny thing. Alright, let's move on to coach number 5, and maybe we wouldn't mind picking up the pace a little bit, because we're on team number 5 and we're already more than an hour in, so we're not doing great on the whole let's be fast at this one. Alright, Cody.
Go.
I'll take the lead on this one. So my boy Cody, love this team first of all. Bases are very well covered. I love the Terra Salamence on this team. I'm gonna start with that right away. Terra Salamence is a demon, in my opinion. It is once again one of the premier Terra captains on the board. Very scary sweeper, can attack on both on the physical and the special side. Terra fixes one of its biggest problems, which is lack of good flying stat. Now you get Terra Blast, which is amazing. Also lets it sets up much easier. And we have good pivots, right? We have the Meowscarada, we have the Petulant, we have the Florges, which does often run Baton Pass. I can even Wish Pass to it as well. We have good hazards to support it. Speaking of that, that's one of my next positive points. We have great hazards options on this team with an S tier spin blocker, arguably outside of Golden Go, probably the best spin blocker on the board, which is amazing in Petulant. And we have Spikes Meowscarada, Sandy Shocks, we have Rocks on Inverted Bronzong, like no problems there. Lots of speed on this team as well, I will say. We've got Meowscarada base 1 into 23, which is excellent. Ambipom got a good little speed tier there. And Furret at 108, and then there's no other like huge big gaps down below either. The only, I guess, gripe is that below Salamence, Petulant doesn't often like running speed investment, so, and the rest of them below it either don't. So is it like Pokemon below base 90, below base 100 don't have a lot of reason to run much speed investment against this team. That could be an issue, but I don't think it's. I think the higher end covering it in that regard is more important. So, and we do have that, which is nice. Don't have many nitpicks about this team, honestly. We have like all of our roles covered. The only real nitpick that I could spot, which I'm sure you guys will elaborate on, is maybe the type variety isn't as ideal in this team, because we have Blastoise and Florges. I'm not usually a massive fan of like having too many mono-type Pokemon on the draft, especially when you only have 10 Pokemon. And we also have 2 pure normal types. Now, of course, Porygon 2, Terra Captain, but I don't really think you should be tearing Porygon 2 that often on this team, because again, this team to me feels like a team built around Terra Salamence, and it did that really, really well. And I think Cody's going to smoke people with that Terramint, but it does mean that you won't be tearing your Porygon 2 as often, which again means that you're stuck with 2 mono normal types. So again, I haven't studied the type charts.
Hey.
What?
Uh-oh, he's attacking the normal types to trigger now.
Hey, listen. I like normal types, okay, but they don't have very many resistances. Even you should know that. But
They have zero resistances, technically.
Yeah, true. True. But again, I haven't actually studied the type chart yet. That's just something I noticed. Maybe you guys can fill me in on what the team is actually weak to or not, and if that's maybe a consequence of that. But yeah, other than that, I think this is a really strong team. I think this might even be Cody's best team yet. Again, I love me the Bulky Water, the Spinner, and Blastoise as well. I know you guys are going to pick on that. And to be honest, Blastoise is your only spinner. Definitely can see how that's a negative. But I personally think Blastoise is not a terrible spinner because it does take hits really well as well. So, like, a couple minor nitpicks, but honestly, no major nitpicks on this team at all for me. Really like this team. But what say you guys? Who's next? Al? I think Al.
Al, take it away.
Okay, I'll go. I was absolutely going to target poor little Blastoise as the lone spinner. It's fine. It does just fine, but it has a really hard time not being spin blocked. It doesn't, I mean, it has Dark Pulse. It just doesn't do enough damage most of the time to break the thing that wants to spin block it.
No Mega Launcher.
Luckily, no Mega Launcher. Luckily, as you said, he has the most annoying spin blocker, or like in Petron. Goldengo is also really good because it also blocks Defog, but there's that. And then you were talking about the weakest start. He doesn't have any weaknesses, actually. It's completely clean. Look at him go.
Is it also clean if you take away the fact that the type chart usually says Bronzong has both Heat Proof and Levitate?
Well, let's see. If I remove... Okay, so Bronzong... I'll remove Heat Proof, because Bronzong is 9 times out of 10 going to be Levitate. I'll count that as on the chart. If I remove his Heat Proof, he still has a Fire Resistance, because he has... That would just be Meowscarada and Bronzong weak to Fire. And he has Infernape, Salamence, and Blastoise that resists. So he would still be resistant to Fire. Okay. If I remove Levitate from Bronzong, I guess technically he'd be weak to it. But, I mean, that's not fair to remove Levitate from Bronzong, since that... That is the ability it's going to be.
Pass on that. I think he gets a pass on that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he absolutely gets passed on that. I'm not going to not. Like, he's not. When is he going to run Heat Proof? I mean, if he fears, I don't know. Doesn't matter. Terra Salamence is so scary. It's obviously got Intimidate to allow it to set up even further from flipping his type chart, or he can be Moxie. Both of its abilities, like Moxie, Terra, Salamence, is just such a threat. And 100 speed is pretty good if he just wants to run Scarf. Like, he doesn't even have to set up. It's got a high enough stat. And I have experience with a Terra Salamence. It can run mixed a lot. Like, it can run like Terra Fire, Fire Blast as a physical attacker just to roast those steel types to get in his way. And that still activates Moxie. Just kill someone with a special attack. I don't know if that...
Well, there you go. You're going to need that Heat-Proof Bronzong to take on that Terrafire Salamence.
Oh, there you go. I never saw that coming, but then you're hit by the Earthquake that it's going to have as well, so,
no way out.
Yeah, no way out. It's so good. It's really good. Obviously, it's worth, I think it's 20 points. It's yeah. The small nitpick, fine, I'll agree with you. There's two normal types, mono-normal types. That's... whatever. And then Ambipom, its speed tier is kind of like, I feel like why it's here. Other than that, it's kind of very similar to Meowscarada in a way. That's kind of, I'm gonna nitpick on that one because they both enjoy using triple axle. They both enjoy using U-turn. Obviously, they're both physical. I think they're kind of too similar, and they're just two fastest guys. So I think that's a teeny tiny little thing. His hazard setting is great. Sandy Shocks alone, really. It has both Stealth Rock and Spikes, and then you got Meowscarada can do it too. It's not as good as Greninja, but it can still, use Spikes effectively. And I had Infernape last season with Stealth Rock. I used it once. There you go. And Bronzong is obviously fantastic at it. He has a Wish Passer to try to help that, but I mean, Florges' HP is pretty pitiful. And then priorities, good. I mean, it's good. He's got Fake Out on Ambipom. He's got Sucker Punch, Meowscarada. He's got both Mach Punch and Vacuum Wave. Infernape, all guys that are kind of already fast, which is okay. Obviously, you prefer priority being on a slower guy so you can make use of that. And then Aqua Jet Blastoise, that's not going to happen because I don't expect... That's another thing about Rapid Spin Blastoise being his only spinner. Because of that, he's not making use of Blastoise entirely because he's not going to be able to run Shell Smash, which is why Blastoise is as many points as it is, in my opinion. Because if he runs Shell Smash, he's not going to be running Rapid Spin, which means he's hazards are going to be all over him, right? So I feel like he's forced to fit Blastoise into that role, which it is good at. It's just it can't do the other thing, and that's pretty much all I could see. The is a clean type start. So what do you have to say, Mr. Nardston?
I was waiting to actually hear you call me that, like rather than just read it on a screen. So there you go. That's the pronunciation.
Yeah, there you go.
So I'll keep this short and sweet with Cody because I pretty much agree with everything you guys said, with all the positives and all the negatives. I don't have too much to add, but yeah, speed's great, speed tier's great, hazard setting great, hazard removal not good with the Blastoise. Priority is good, pivots are good. Team is clean type chart, like I said, which is a really, really important thing to me. And Terra Captain's well placed, but the Salamence, obviously, one of the premier Terra Captains this season. Just an amazing Pokemon to use as a Terra Captain. So yeah, I don't really. The only nitpicks that I have are the Blastoise is the only spinner. I think of all the teams that we've looked at so far, this is probably the most suboptimal hazard remover setup of any of them. Just because, again, like you said, Blastoise doesn't want to spin. It would probably rather Shell Smash, in my opinion. So, and the fact that there's nothing else to back it up is just, it's not great. So that's easily the biggest weakness of the team, in my opinion. But also, I do agree with something you guys kind of said as well, which is, or Al's, I should say, said, which is the fact that there's multiple Pokemon that feels like they fill similar roles on the team. So you've got like Meowscarada and Ambipom feel like they fill similar roles on the team. Porygon and Ambipom as both mono normal types. So it's really like, I feel like if he transacted the Ambipom something else that was roughly in that same point value, or I should say in this roughly the same point value, but also like roughly the same speed tier, like in the 110 to 120 speed tier range, then I think he would be fine. And maybe there's nothing else left. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I know that spot is very awkward. I hate that spot. That 110 to 120 is the most awkward spot to fill. It is very annoying. I know that.
Yes. Yes. So at the end of the day, I do agree with what Scorpion said. I do think that there are very few fundamental flaws with this team. I mean, there are no major flaws with this team, and there are very few minor flaws with this team as well. So I'll just cut to the chase and say I think we got ourselves an S-rank team on our hands here with this guy, and I do agree that this is hands down Cody's best team yet.
Yeah. I'm actually glad to hear you say that, because I honestly thought, I know me personally, especially compared to you guys, I actually don't hate, and this is obviously coming from the Cyclozar guy, but I don't hate the philosophy of only one spinner as much as you guys perhaps do. I personally think as long as you have one spinner and that spinner likes to run rapid spin, it's good. Now Blastoise, like we said, not the best at doing that. It's not terrible either. I think you can get away with it. And the thing about Cody's team is also not super weak to hazards overall. Like if you draft a bunch of fire types and flying types, and none of the, and your removal is mediocre, but obviously with the same vision, like Al obviously picking up Moltres, but then he has an elite spinner. That's always a good idea. But the reason why I'm mentioning it is because I thought that would keep the team out of S tier for you guys, so I'm happy to hear that's not the case. I personally think this is the best team we've looked at so far. I actually like it even a tiny bit more than Al's, even though they're both S's in my opinion.
I would agree with that, and I think, to answer your point, I think the biggest thing for me is that, if there were more wrong with it, for me the spinner setup is always like a compounding factor. But if I'm looking at a team and the only real issue that I have with the team is the spinner, that in and of itself is not going to keep it out of S tier for me. So I think it's like that, and a couple other Pokemon similarity things, but it's there's just so little wrong with the team that's not going to be the deal breaker for me.
Okay, so fine, yes.
All right, sweet.
This is not me trying to make excuses, but I just want to say that. Hey, no. Before you even rated it, I wanted to say this. I realized. Yeah, he's not weak to rock, but the thing that is weak to rock is his 20-point talents. That's all. That's all I wanted to say. That's all. Now, of course, it's Terra Captain, but I mean, it's likely going to come in later in the game if I had to guess.
Yep.
But that's
Indeed.
all. I still agree. Fine, I'll agree. S tier. Yes, I will.
And not just S tier, but better than Al in S tier.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm not going to admit that, but if you want to do that to me, then I'll just I'll push the B button.
Unacceptable behavior, really, isn't it?
Real indeed. All right.
Go ahead.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to team number 6 with the laziest of boys, Lazy Boy, coach of the sleepy Laxingtons. Please give me a reminder whose turn is it? Is it mine or is it someone else's?
I think it's. I believe that
it's yours.
It's yours, yeah.
No, it's Al's. I think it's Al's because
is it Al's? Oh, okay.
I did. Well, because I did Al,
me?
you did Cody, and then so this is Al's turn.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, go for it.
Oh, is it me?
Yes.
All right.
It is you.
All right. Before I say the weakness start, they are all there, not a missing random. So, first of all, speed tiers are pretty much perfect, minus the. Well, no, it's not really a problem. The 60 to 20 gap at the bottom is not a problem, but whatever. Speed tiers are perfect. Your fastest guy being Rabombi, it's not going to come in every game. That might be exploited. We got a tiny little ice weakness there because of Garchomp, Sabrina, and Clodsire. Things that might come to every game because, well, you have 2 removal. But, and then you got...
Is this the first team... Sorry to interrupt. Is this the first team we've looked at that has more than one way of removal?
No, the Great Tusk and Galarian Weezing.
Oh, yeah, right.
You're
right, yeah.
That's Nidour, the Nidour's team.
You're right. Sorry, go on.
And also, I believe this has 3 removal, because Smeargle probably can do some sort of removal with its knowing everythingness. Of course it can. It can do whatever it wants. It can tidy up. It's good at tidying up, especially as a devastating Terra Captain. With Population Bomb, if you want to. But, of course, yeah, this is the thing. We've got a minor ground weakness as well, but Mandibuzz is extremely good at coming into ground type moves, but you're not going to bring Bombi every time. And Sarina can eat ground type moves pretty well. But you have a few weaknesses, especially with your high point guys like your Tauros and Iron Crown, both of which I believe are the Terra Captains. They are. And so you can Terra out of those, and same with the Flying. Flying is pretty spammable, especially if you Terra Iron Crown, unless it goes Terra Electric, which I am used to.
You know about that.
But, yeah, I do know about that. Hitiful, just kidding. And then aside from that, it's pretty clean. Hisuian Zoroark is cool. I like Zoroark just in general. I don't. It's not really a plus, but it's a plus to me just because I just like it being around. His hazard setters are good. I mean, we got Garchomp with both Spikes and Stealth Rock. Obviously, it's very good at using hazards. It doesn't have to, but it can use them. And then Clodsire is exactly the same. It's got both Stealth Rock and Spikes and Toxic Spikes. Of course, I can add Smeargle into the mix for everything I'm going to say, because it can literally do everything. But it is good at using hazards, because I believe it's commonly using Ceaseless Edge, which, of course, Spikes. We got technically 2 Sticky Webbers. Removal, I've already said, is pretty good. I mean, I have a lot of faith in Mandibuzz. I know Scorpion doesn't like Mandibuzz, but I'm pretty sure he has to at least respect its ability to use the.
Oh, I respect Mandibuzz. I think it's a really good Pokemon. I just hate it, like design-wise.
Oh, okay.
I think I respect the hell out of Mandibuzz. I think it's an incredible Pokemon. I just hate it. I hate facing it. I don't like its design, but it has my respect as a Pokemon.
Okay, perfect. Well, it's also got U-turn along with Sarina and Zoroark. We got good Volt Switchers in Raikou and Iron Crown. We got Flip Turn Primarina. We got very good pivoting, and this is actually very good. It could be a Vortex, like I believe it was called. Where's the priority? I'm trying to find it. There it is. Okay, that's where we're gonna lack. We got Shadow Sneak Zoroark and that's about it. I mean, for viable stuff, we got obviously Extreme Speed on Raikou and Aqua Jet Primarina. That's probably not going to happen. And of course, Smeargle can do whatever it wants. I will. So priority is a little low. A few weaknesses on the type chart. But I still think it's good. I mean, you get the Sticky Web, and Tauros or Iron Crown can just start setting up, and you really can't one-shot them, especially as Terra Captains, and they will run away. They can easily run away with the game, and you prevent yourself from being set up on while you're trying to set up because you have an unaware Clodsire, and you can get hazards with Garchomp early, or Clodsire, and then just bring in Iron Crown and Tauros and just start tearing things apart. Or maybe it's actually a Zoroark and you panic and you throw your thing that you're supposed to throw away in front of the setup guy, and instead you take a Hyper Voice that's like Specs or something. So I think it's pretty. I like how it's built. But who's after me? Who wants to go after me?
Does it?
I'll jump in.
Oh yeah, go for it.
I'll jump in if you want.
Ahead.
Yeah. So yeah, I do agree with a lot of those points for sure. The type chart is pretty solid. I will say, bit of a ground weakness though on this team. And like you said, Ribombee not going to come to every game, and if it does, it's with its paper thin defenses is probably not going to be taking too many anyway. So that could be a little bit of an issue, but aside from that, there are a lot of pros to this team. So the Terra Captain placement, this is another team where I really like the Terra Captain placement here. So Iron Crown and Tauros Blaze form are great Terra Captains in my opinion. Tauros Blaze is a Pokemon I've thought about drafting many times, and it's a Pokemon I really like, and I really appreciate what it can do. It's in my opinion, it's the best of all the Tauros forms. It's an upgrade from the other ones from the original, but just because of that typing and that offensive typing, but I really like that. But also Terra Smeargle is like, I mean, I don't know that you would ever choose to bring Terra Smeargle over like Iron Crown or Tauros Blaze, but like the fact that you can Terra it in and of itself might be kind of like a niche. I'm envisioning like a niche scenario where, like, obviously Smeargle likes to spam either a Ceaseless or Stone Axe or whatever spore you want to call it, so it can do its shenanigans. But I envision a scenario where you could like Terra Ghost Smeargle to be immune to a fighting attack and then get even more hazards up, that kind of thing. Like imagine, you can pull that play off and then you can get like a Ceaseless Edge and a Stone Axe off in your 2 turns that you have with it on the board. So that's, I don't know. I see it might be silly, but I do see potential in the Terra Smeargle, believe it or not.
I mean, Terra Preview makes it a bit tougher, sadly, but yeah.
Yes, that is true. But
yeah,
you also have mind games then too with it, because like it's if say you bring the Smeargle and it's like, is he really gonna go Terra Ghost on Smeargle right now? And
that's true.
And then he does it. You know what I mean? So I agree with you. It is harder to do with Terra Preview, absolutely. But I guess all I'm saying is I see potential in Terra Smeargle, for as silly as that sounds. But I do like the team. I like the pivoting, like Al mentioned. Great pivot options on this team, with the U-turns, multiple Volt Switchers, a Flip Turner as well, Baton Pass, Dry with Ribombee. And then the hazard situation on this team is really good. I like both the setup and the removal for hazards on this team. I think it's really solid. Clodsire and Garchomp are really reliable hazard setters. And obviously the Sticky Web from Ribombee is really valuable. And then on the flip side, the removal with Mandibuzz and Serena is really valuable as well. I do agree with what Al said about the priority. There is definitely a lack of priority on this team. Perhaps the worst we've seen, quite honestly. It could be the worst we've seen, because I know in not to cross wires with Pokemon Champions, but I know in the Pokemon Champions that I've been playing, it's actually become super common to see people have Aqua Jet on Primarina.
Yes.
Although I think it's terrible. It is it's terrible in my opinion, because I've played many a game where I've had like a Pokemon with like, I don't know, maybe 20% health, and they go for the Aqua Jet with the Primarina. It's not even a particularly bulky Pokemon, and it still doesn't kill. And I'm just like, that's what you get for wasting your move spot. that it didn't even kill me.
Well,
I was at 20. I was at 20% with like, I don't even know, like a freaking, I don't know, like a Lucario, and it didn't even kill me. So
in their defense, I think that's like a 3v3 single staple to finish off Focus Sash leads, but
probably
there you go. That's exactly that's correct.
Indeed, but all the same, I still think it's a wasted move slot in my opinion.
No,
but,
it is.
But yeah,
right.
I say I say that to say that I the priority, and then obviously Shadow Sneak, like so the principle that I mentioned before with I don't like running Rapid Spin on Pokemon that don't have physical attack investment. I don't like running priority moves like physical attacking priority moves on Pokemon that don't have physical attack investment either. So like Aqua Jet Primarina, like Quick Attack Sylveon, like these are strategies that I just don't like. I don't think they're good, and I don't like. I see the argument for them, I just don't like it. But yeah, you're not going to be seeing Shadow Sneak Hisuian Zoroark anytime soon. I don't think either. So this is probably the worst.
It has respectable attack. It has respectable attack at 100. It can use it. It can use it.
You can, but then if you're going to nasty, I guess if you don't want a nasty plot and spam special attacks, you can. But 4 move slots. Yeah. But yeah, I know. I think this is there aren't a lot of negatives about this team, but the priority is probably the biggest one for me. And then those little type weaknesses and stuff. But what say you, Scorpion?
Yeah, I agree with everything. I'm not going to beat a dead horse at this point. The priority on this team is pretty lackluster, very lackluster in fact. Extreme Speed Raikou is your only somewhat strong form of priority, that's about it. Hey, at least we can block opposing priority with Queenly Majesty Serena, that's cool. Love the Terra Captains on this team, as you guys know, even though I didn't use it that well in the prior season. I do love me some Terra Iron Crown. Terra Hisuian, Paldean Tauros is very, very powerful as well. I also don't hate the idea of Terra Smeargle. It's not great, and you definitely don't want to be terroring it many times other than over Iron Crown or Tauros, but in games where hazards are particularly strong, Terra Ghost Smeargle is a very, very real threat you have to respect, especially because tons of the teams that we've seen so far, and spoiler alert, we're going to see more, only have Rapid Spin. Not many of them have Defog, so that's a plus there.
Oh man!
Elaborating.
Spin blocked by a Smeargle.
Yeah, listen. It happens in OU too, or at least it did when webs were popular. Another thing I like about this team is that we have a lot of strong options to disguise Zoroark as. I mean, I don't think that's something that the team really often needs to go out of their way to do anyway, because that happens a lot naturally. But still, like, imagine disguising it as Clodsire, or disguising it as Iron Crown, or disguising it as Mandibuzz, and then you can do some pretty fun, funky stuff with that. So I do like that.
Yep.
Very fast team as well. Lots of good speed tiers on here. We've got speed control with Rabombi or Sticky Web on Smeargle, and then obviously Raikou, Hisuian Zoroark. All of these mons are very fast. Love the Garchomp on this team too. Fills the rules with hazards. Lazy Boy is my cross-division round 1 Garchomp enjoyer. But I do love to see it in the Scarlet Violet Division as well. A couple negatives. Again, the priority is an issue, but I'm not going to touch on that again. One nitpick I have, which hasn't been mentioned, is that I really don't see the appeal of Sticky Web on this team, like, at all. The only Sticky Web abuser on this team, in my opinion, really is just Garchomp and maybe Terra Iron Crown. But the problem is you have a lot of pieces, like the Primarina and the Mandibuzz and the Clodsire and I guess the Raikou to an extent as well, because its coverage isn't best. There's a lot of pieces on this team that kind of let your opponent potentially spin, which, especially because the Hisuian Zoroark is our ghost type, which we often don't want to take damage because then the disguise becomes too obvious. I don't love the appeal of... I don't love Rabombi on this team, I'm going to be brutally honest. So that's definitely a bit of a, I guess, almost redundant piece on this team in my opinion. Garchomp is really scary under webs, and so is Terra Iron Crown, but that's kind of it. And Rabombi, like, if you had that problem with... If you had that problem with... Yeah, but Tauros is not like, like Tauros' best setup move is Bulk Up, and its attack isn't through the roof, so it's like, it's good, but not... It's not sweeping entire teams just because the opponent's speed. Like, if I'm... Put it this way, if I'm using webs, I want to see like a Hoopa Unbound, or like UL, have a Terra Haxor or something like that. I don't want to see a Tauros, with all due respect. So...
Okay.
That's
Fine, yeah.
that is an issue in my opinion. Again, now Rabombi's not like super expensive, so it's not a huge deal, but I do think it's worth mentioning. And also Lazy Boy, I hope he doesn't do this, but he could be falling into the same trap that I did last season, which I did better, funnily enough, in Season 3 when I had Iron Crown. Iron Crown is your only Steel type. Now, that's not as big of a problem, even if it is your Terra Captain, because you're not going to be terrestrializing Iron Crown every game, and even if you are, you still get to keep the Steel typing to set up. Like, Terra timing with Iron Crown is everything. But I did notice last season that because Iron Crown was my only Steel type, I needed it on defensive duty a lot of the times. I was forced to run into running Assault Vest a lot, Vatican. But the issue is that takes away from the sweeping. And Iron Crown, it gets Iron Defense, it gets Calm Mind, it gets Agility, it has amazing bulk. It's an amazing setup sweeper, like absolutely incredible, especially as a Terra Captain because it gets the coverage that it normally lacks. And when it's your only Steel type, you kind of sometimes prevent it from doing that. So again, I don't know if Lazy Boy will take. We'll just say F it, we ball and still run sweeping sets even when he might need it. I will say his team has a stronger defensive backbone than mine did last season. It definitely does. With the Primarina, the Manabuzz, and the Clodsire and whatnot. So I don't think he'll have as much of a reason to run AV as I did back then. So I think he'll be better off with it. But it is still something I wanted to mention this weekend, especially as someone who has fallen into that trap with Terra Iron Crown myself. But that's really all I have to say.
Fair.
So let's get to ranking it.
What do you think, Al?
Oh.
You started it off.
Okay, I'll say. Well, I mean, it's A. I'll say A. It's higher to high A. I'll say that, something like that. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I would think either maybe like middle of the road A is kind of what I'm thinking, because it is a good team. It is a very solid team, but I think there's enough flaws with it that I wouldn't call it S, but it is a really solid team for sure.
Yep, I agree. I'd say middle of A. Slightly better than Zachmander, slightly worse than Beardoo.
Sounds good.
Yep, that's good to me.
All right, let's move on to the next one. Coach of the Pittsburgh Double Sharks, another newcomer. We have Matt Stowe, 26.
Yes, and I will take the lead on this if you don't mind, because
Go for it.
I have a bone to pick with this man. Because listen, here's the thing. I had a request because Matt and I had one conversation about wrestling, and from there he made a positive impression on me. And so I had one request when I saw that he had drafted Landorus to his team, the very embodiment of the legendary YouTuber Joseph Fontaine. So I had one request of him, and that was that he pair that Landorus pick, Landorus Incarnate, mind you, or I think it was Therian actually. It has to be Landorus Therian. So
it was initially Therian, but he traded with the person that had Therian, and now he has Incarnate, and now this person has, that person has Therian.
Traded it away. How could you? How could you do such a thing? You were the chosen one, sir, and you threw it all away. So that's and then you didn't even draft the Wigglytuff. So you know what? I can't even, like, this is an F tier team. We're moving on.
All right, you got
it. So all jokes aside, so this team, this is an interesting team. I will say this one was kind of hard for me to wrap my head around for a couple reasons. So he opened up with the Darkrai pick, obviously, which is like, Darkrai is a solid Pokemon, but like, I don't know. I've never personally been, ever since Dark Void got nerfed, I've never been the biggest Darkrai fan personally. I understand it's a good Pokemon, but I don't know. It doesn't work for me. Let's put it that way.
If Dark Void had been nerfed, it would definitely be banned. So,
absolutely, 100%. I'm not saying. Don't get me wrong. I'm not mad that Dark Void got nerfed. I'm very happy it did, but I haven't been a fan of the Pokemon since that. So, the Gouging Fire is a solid pick, obviously. The problem I have with Gouging Fire, though, is I don't really feel like this team supports it very well. So, and I'll talk about that in a second. But Gouging Fire is a powerhouse. Quaquaval and Landorus Incarnate form are also powerhouses. So you've got a lot of power. This team is another pretty top-heavy team, though. That's kind of what I'm getting at here, is that you've got his first 6 picks are all pretty top heavy. Obviously, you've got the Terra Hydrapple, which is probably, I think, the crown jewel of this team all in all. Because let's be honest, what was it last season? Because guess what? If you looked at your title screen of this video, you would notice that Hydrapple was the new mascot of the Battle Hub Draft League. And the reason for that is because it was the kill leader last season. So obviously that's an immense powerhouse in every sense of the word. The Metagross is a solid pickup, no question. It's a solid steel type, but the latter half of the team kind of like falls off for me a little bit. So I think like of all the top heavy teams we've seen so far, I think this is probably the one where you feel the lack of points at the end of the draft. Like it hits you harder than the other teams. So I know we've all said this before, but I'll say it again. I'm not a huge fan of not Terra Comfy. I don't think it's as bad as I think Scorpion thinks it is, but I am not a huge fan of not Terra Comfy either. Swalot, to quote Scorpion, it's a freaking Swalot. So, I'm not.
Hey, I love me some Swalot, but it is a Swalot.
So that's not great. Base form Tauros, and Terra Electabuzz, not Electivire, Electabuzz. Now,
again, wrong
probably
division.
So the biggest. I will say this: there are some positives to this team. So the speed is really good, right? So all the the Darkrai, the Tauros, even the Comfey's fast and the Landorus, but I feel like the biggest thing, and I usually like to talk about the positives first, but the biggest thing that pops out to me about this team is the travesty of the Terra Captain setup on this team. I have to say that. So Hydrapple is incredible. I already mentioned that. However, Electabuzz is your secondary Terra Captain. And not only is Electabuzz an Electabuzz, but you have 6 unused, I believe it's 6 unused Terra points, right? On the board, if you, with only those 2 as your Terra Captains, because that's what, 22 and 2, so that leaves you with 6.
Yeah.
So that is a huge mismanagement of Terra points, in my opinion. You could have something, if you would have played your cards right with this draft, you could have had something infinitely better than Electabuzz as your secondary Terra Captain. So I think that's a huge the draft itself. I don't want to sound mean when I say this, but I have to be honest, and I think that so far this is probably the draft that has the worst point management of any draft we've seen thus far, because you've got all these top heavy mons that are really powerhouses, but they don't really feel like they fit together. Like I said, I didn't think Gouge and Fire felt very supported on this team. I don't think Quacklevola is very supported on this team.
Oh, I'm gonna elaborate on that big time when it gets to me. Don't worry.
Well, it's going to be there soon. Trust me. So that's what's really throwing me for this team is you've got all these powerhouses, all these really good Pokemon at the top, but then it doesn't feel like you really have any way to support them. And I don't like that. I don't like the mismanagement of the Terra points. The hazards on this team, in my opinion, are not very good either, because you've got Landorus and Metagross, which are reliable rockers, but then you've got no spikers, and which again, I just want to be clear about something. I don't think not having a spiker in and of itself is a deal breaker, but compounded with other factors, it's a problem. So no spiker plus your only toxic spiker is again a freaking Swalot, and there's no sticky Weber either. That's a problem. And then you get to the hazard removal, and all you've got is Rapid Spin Quacklevola, and that is not good. That is not. I understand it's viable. Rapid Spin on Quacklevola is viable, but it is not good in my opinion.
I know
DRV.
I know DRV will argue very much for it, but
yes, it's not optimal by any stretch of the imagination. No, it is not optimal. So the pivots are okay. Like you've got some U-turners, you've got some baton pass, flip turn, but the problem there is like you've got Quacklevola is one of your pivots, and like you don't really want to pivot with Quacklevola typically, right? Like you want to set up with Aqua Step and Moxie and all that good stuff. So like I don't know. I feel like this is I'm going to pass it to you, but my overall feeling about this team is there's a lot of powerhouse Pokemon on it, but it just feels like you took a bunch of different pieces from different puzzles and tried to fit them together, and it doesn't really work out very well. That's kind of how I read this team. But what do you think, Scorpion?
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you, and I actually want to elaborate on that. I feel like this team has an identity crisis. I was watching the draft obviously unfold because, you know, I'm sort of the one in charge of putting the Pokemon in the dock. And I loved the way that Matzo's team was looking at the start. I saw the Darkrai, I saw the Gouging Fire, I saw Quaquaval. I was like, wow, this looks like a super cool team. This looks like something like I would want to use. This is going to turn out to be like a beautiful hyper offense team. And then I'm like, where's the rest? Like, and then the next 3 picks that came, Landorus, Incarnate, Metagross, Hydrapple, Terra Hydrapple. These are extremely strong pieces on like balance, like more bulky teams. But then, where's the bulk? It feels like this team had, like, mid-draft, it had an identity crisis. Like, oh, I want to draft Hyper Offense. No, actually, I want to draft Balance. And it feels so odd to me. Adding on to the thing you said earlier about point mismanagement, also completely agree with that. I think the last 4 pieces of this team, don't take me wrong, I love Swalot. It's not a great Pokemon, let's just be honest there. I don't like non-Terra Comfey, you are completely right about that. I think non-Terra Comfey, unless you're really, really desperate for more priority and a Fairy type, which I guess this team is, it's not horrible on this team, but I still don't like it. And then Tauros and Terra Electabuzz. I mean, when are you going to Terra your Electabuzz over Hydrapple? Come on. So the last 4 picks, in my opinion, yeah, just this roster is, and I quote, extremely shallow. Yeah, not just that, but also very shallow.
Oh, I missed it. I missed my. See, I was so like struggling to kind of like quantify the team that I forgot to use my own catchphrase.
Yeah, so I'm doing it for you. There you go. Don't like the hazard situation of this team, not only because I think, like, 2 rockers is usually the threshold, but Landorus Incarnate does not like running rocks, so you effectively only have 1. No spikes. I hate seeing no spikes when you've got Quaquaval, Gouging Fire, and Darkrai. These Pokemon love being paired with hazard, and you don't have that. I do think, and there's even if there was good hazards, there's no ghost type, so you can't even spin block. So yeah, I don't see the vision of that. I also don't see the vision of the lower tier picks here, other than, I guess, Swallow being your grounded poison type. Every team needs one of those, but the speed tier's another thing. They're not great. Let's be honest, Electabuzz is not going to come to many games if it doesn't, and neither is Tauros, actually. If you take those 2 out of the equation, you have a gap between 125 and 101. Again, that's going to be the case most games, because when are you not going to bring your top 6 in this? That hurts a lot. The only real good thing about this team that I can say is if we do get up hazards and we manage to overwhelm our opponent with sweepers, then we're off to the races. I do think, despite the fact that they don't synergize too well, you do have to respect Gouging Fire and Quaquaval. You also have to respect Darkrai. I personally quite like Darkrai. I think it's a really powerful pick. Very solid round 1. But yeah, I think this team has an identity crisis, and like another thing, for example, is like if we're gonna run hyper offense, where's the hazards, and also where's the screens? Gouging Fire and Quaquaval are demotic on their screens, but we don't have a good screen setter, like, at all. So I see, like, not only fundamentally in terms of the base of this team lacks a little bit, not as much, but especially when we dive deeper and we look at synergies. I'm very sorry, I'm not a fan of this team. Now, is this an objectively bad team? No, not at all. I wouldn't say so. I think the top 6, as with any top-heavy team, is strong enough. Terra Hydrapple obviously is amazing, and I honestly think this team is... What I will say is I think this team is very salvageable with a couple of transactions. So I really hope that Matzo takes some of those into consideration. Again, I'm not going to give them here for him. I think this team is very salvageable. I think if you lean into hyper offense with this team, you could end up having a very strong core. And I actually... Speaking of that, if you do that, then I also, I'm sorry, B-Nard, but I do genuinely think that trading Landorus I for Landorus T was the correct play here. But yeah, again, I think there's definitely a lot of issues with this team. I'll stop ripping it apart now. Al, what do you think?
Well, I pretty much agree with most of you guys say. I just want to say, well, you've already talked about the hazard game, and I just want to say that Metagross is good. I'd use the Stealth Rocks because it's just so bulky, but I was picturing if I'm playing a game and I'm switching into a Metagross and I'm kind of afraid of, like, agility or something, and it just uses Stealth Rock, then I'm gonna go, Oh, okay. and then I'll feel like I'll have a little bit of a wait. So I agree with pretty much most of you guys said. I think if you switch the Terra Captain from, well, just get rid of Electabuzz pretty much and put the Terra on Tauros. I think Tauros can make good use of it. It's worth like 5 points or something, so that would help. I don't remember. I was looking at it myself. I think Terra regular Tauros is just fine. I think it's good. But yeah, I pretty much agree with everything you said. The only one spinner in Quackable, Dr. V or DRV, whatever you want to call. I call him Dr. V. I think that's how yeah. Anyway,
You know, I never even realized that. Dr. V. I thought it was
I
DRV.
literally I
that just
DM'd him and
exploded.
asked him. He told me that it was Dr. V, and that's
Oh,
why I
man.
call him the Doc.
Wait, is that actually a thing?
My
I thought that was something that you made up, like because of your nickname.
Oh.
And I thought that his name was actually just supposed to be DRV and that it meant something. I genuinely didn't know that it's supposed to be Dr. V. Well, I guess it makes sense because
My
I know
head exploded.
I know he studies in the medical field. So
There you go.
Well,
My
there
head
you
has
go.
exploded. exploded. Yeah, so I'll be as far as ranking this team goes.
I still put it in D tier from initially.
Yeah, unfortunately, actually, it's fun. I feel a little bit bad because I said that as a joke, and now that I'm thinking about it, I think that's probably where it belongs. Unfortunately, so yeah, I will
Really?
agree 100% with what you said, Scorpion, and say that I think that you definitely have a lot of potential to clean it up with some transactions, but as it stands right now, it feels like it's all over the place.
Yeah,
Didn't you let me talk about his ground weakness? Because once he terras the Landorus, his only ground resistance, or sorry, once he terras the Hydrapple, his only ground resistance is the Landorus, or the only immunity, really. And then he's got multiple weaknesses there for to ground, so there's that.
There you have it. Indeed.
Yeah. But I wasn't going to put it that low. I was going to put it, like, lowest B, but probably. But
you know,
I mean, I could see. I will say this: I could see it in C tier because there are a lot of powerful pieces on it.
C,
But
right. That's why I meant C. I meant C.
Okay, I was gonna say I could see
You were
C
saying-
or D. I was saying D, yeah, but I could see C because there are a lot of powerful pieces on it. It's just they don't feel like they fit together. That's my issue.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just gonna put it in C
Okay.
tier. Move on. All right.
There you go.
Halfway point. How many? Almost 2 hours in. Let's go. We are moving on to the Phoenix Ho-Ohs, coached by Omega Singles. Omega VGC, wrong division, buddy. Who's...
Omega Singles. Ha ha ha! I like your joke, Scorpion. It's funny.
Thank you. I thought it was terrible, but whose turn is it?
I think it is your turn,
Mine?
actually.
Yeah, all right, let's take it away
Yes.
with this one.
Yeah.
All right, I'm glad Brendan's not here because we have a Terra 2 cannon on the screen.
I wish he was here. That's all the more reason he should be here.
Oh,
Go on.
true.
Go on.
All right, we have the team with my boy Palafin. As you guys know, I'm very fond of Palafin.
No.
Although I do like this, sorry Al, I do like this team a lot in general. To be honest, we have a lot of our bases covered. We have really good, really good hazard setup here. Actually, we have two amazing rockers and one decent one. We have two really good spikers. We have removal, like every other base is covered there. Palafin, in combination with Terra Necrozma, as Pokemon says it, and Weavile is a demonic offensive core. Like, that is absolutely incredible. Necrozma, for those who don't know, is the record holder for most kills in BHDL ever. Piloted in Season 3 by the legend, the best not really. And that thing wasn't even a Terra Captain back then, mind you. So I think Terra Necrozma...
Wow! Okay, jeez.
Yeah, so I think... Terra Necrozma this season could really pop off, and I wonder if it's going to reclaim that status and go even farther. Although the kill amount is 25, just for the record, so that's hard to top, but still. Love that offensive core at the top there. We also, it's very funny because we have looked at a few teams that have that problem, and we're going to look at more teams that have that problem. This team has by far the best priority in the whole league. This team does not struggle with priority. We have Ice Shard on Weavile, we have Jet Punch on Palafin, we have Bullet Punch on Scizor, and I think Virizion gets Vacuum Wave as well, though I could be wrong. But even if it doesn't, those three are more than excellent. That's more than enough. So excellent priority options on this team. Big plus for Omega there. As for the negatives, because I like quite a lot about this team, First of all, as much as I love it, I do have to admit there is a little bit of a lackluster defensive backbone for Palafin. Palafin loves having a defensive backbone that it can switch into to get into hero mode easier. We do have the Gliscor, which is great, and it does have a little type synergy with Palafin, but it's not. That's kind of the only real piece. I mean, Scizor, yeah, that's a thing. But Scizor obviously, doesn't love running full-on defensive sets. That's a little bit of an issue. Also, Brandon, you're gonna love hearing this. I don't appreciate the Terra Toucan on this team. It's a little bit of an issue that we had with the previous team, with the Terra Hydrapple, where I feel like the Terra point mismanagement is a little bit underused. Because I know Necrozma is like super expensive, but that doesn't give you an excuse to draft part of my language, a Shipmon Terra Captain second. You can still do a little bit better with that. And Toucan, I'm sorry, I know it can Terra normal Boom Burst, but that's not enough to justify it as a Terra Captain in my opinion. I don't know if you can make Electivire a Terra Captain. Even like Darksman would be better than Toucan in my opinion. Maybe he just did it to spite Brandon though. That's also very a real possibility. But I could very much see that being a thing. You might be right
about that.
Yeah, I could very much see that being a thing. And then the final weakness that I have about this team is that I think there is a big gap at the top of the team between Weavile and Virizion at 125 to 108 in terms of the gap. It's not a huge gap. You can run away with it, but again, the base 120s are going to have a field time, or even like 121, 122 stuff like that, like Noivern, etc., are going to be able to run Modest/Adamant against this team, which might be a bit of an issue. But other than that, I actually quite like this team a lot. Again, I think Terra Necrozma is demonic, and yeah, lots of positives about this team. But what say you guys?
Wow.
Me? Okay. Well, Palafin's the worst Pokemon in the game.
We had to follow the very positive Palafin opinion with a very negative Palafin opinion about
the biggest Palafin enjoyer versus the biggest Palafin hater.
Yeah. Okay, but to be honest, I don't like it because I think it's really good. Obviously, you are right though. It has a hard time activating Zero to Hero without being punished. There is a Weavile, so I forgot it got drafted. So that Magmar I talked about earlier could totally run Mach Punch at some point. If
I was hoping you were going to notice that and call back to that. So nice job.
Well,
and he is facing Zachmander week 3, so there you go.
There you go. Week 3 is Mach Punch Magmar. He'll never see it coming, especially after me saying it now. I've Terra Necrozma I've never actually seen or faced before, so I don't know the terror, but I can imagine the terror as best as I can, and especially because I forget how many points it is, but again, if you're running Terra Toucan, it must be at least over 20 points. I know it is.
Have you seen Necrozma's moveful, bro? That this Pokemon is built for draft.
I haven't.
It's pretty insane.
Like I said.
Yeah.
I recall facing it in, back when DeBest was on his tear, and I think I was one of the few people who got over it. So, but it was hell.
The plug, there it was. There.
Indeed, the B-Nard plug.
There it was. I know you guys were kind of insulting Toucan. There was a time in a different league. It almost slaughtered me single-handedly. It was under Trick Room, to be fair, but it was breaking me and was putting on a lot of pressure. That's his slowest guy. I don't think he's going to run Trick Room with it because that's his slowest guy. I want to talk about his removal. We got Defog, Scizor, and Mortal Spin, Glamora. Scizor doesn't really want to do that. It does it well because it's a steel type and it can take a hit, but without Roost, it doesn't like to defog anymore. And then we got Mortal Spin Glamora. That's obviously good, but it's easier to block it than even Rapid Spin, in my opinion. Every single team is going to have a steel type, and that steel type will be bulky. I know Glamora obviously is a massive, I believe, 130 special attack with Earth Power, so it can punish that, but it still struggles to use Mortal Spin, in my opinion. So I don't think the removal is that good, and you have a rock weakness on the type chart. We got a Weavile and Toucan that's weak to rock, with only one resistance being the Virizion. And you've already mentioned the speed gap. I was also going to talk about that. It's not that big. It's big. It's 18. It's +2, so 17 bigger than and the minimum that you want to be is 15. I think I said that earlier. But aside from that, there's a lot of offense. For me, I'd personally see more bulk, because I don't see that much bulk just on paper, and you want to be able to switch the Palafin out, like you mentioned already. You want to be able to switch it out. You're going to go into either Gliscor or Darkspawn, maybe Scizor, but Scizor can't recover, so any damage on that is just fine. And then other than that, you don't really have things that you want to switch in to activate that 0 to hero, and you're probably going to want to do that every game. I mean, if you don't bring Palafin, at least me, a big weight will be off my shoulders. Darkspawn can obviously wish, and it's got a good HP stat, I think. Where is its HP stat? Is 57. Just kidding, it sucks. It is not a good one.
Just kidding, it sucks.
Well, the wish passing for it. I thought it had way more HP than that. I overestimated. Never mind. But he still can wish pass, I guess.
There's a reason why everyone was calling it trash bomb when he picked it up.
Oh, well.
I think that's a little harsh, personally. I used Darkspawn in season 1. I liked it, but.
Oh yeah, here's another thing.
Ultimate Chi-Yu counter.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Is Chi-Yu even drafted? Oh, yeah, Brandon picked it up. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, Brandon picked it up. There's a lot of guys with a similar speed. We got 3 guys with base 95 speed. I don't even like to have 2 guys with the same speed stat, but we got 3 guys with base 95, and even then, it's still kind of close to the 100 Palafin and the 105. That's there. And then you already spoke about the priority. It's absolutely. I mean, you're not gonna. You just won't run Focus Sash against them. You just won't, because it will be picked off by anything. By most things there. So I'm a big fan. He's only got 1 weakness on his type chart. It's not something that I would draft personally, because it's too frail for me. But I can see the vision, and it's there. Just not Palafin, and that's not even out of spite. I actually don't like the Palafin on the team. But what do you have to say, Captain?
I knew you paused there because you were trying to think of something clever to say, and then you couldn't, so you just said Captain. That's okay. You're trying to think of which of your several longer than my name nicknames you were going to use.
Longer than your name. Captain Nardi Nardsterson.
No, Al, it's Captain Nardi B-Nard and Ab0mlnati0n. Get it right.
Get it right. It's my name. How dare you tell me to get it right?
Yeah, but it has to be added to it. That's the official full legal name.
Yes, I got my name legally changed.
Yeah.
All right.
Show me your license. And then I'll
all right.
see the
yeah. I'll get right on that. So yeah, this team, Omega's team, we're talking about, right? So, I do agree with a lot of the stuff that you guys said. I do like this team a lot on paper because of the type chart is a big positive for me. Yes, there's a little bit of a rock weakness, but other than that, it's a pretty balanced type chart. I like that. The utility on this team is really amazing. So the hazards on this team, you've got Glimmora and Gliscor that both get Stealth Rock spikes and Toxic spikes. So that is incredible utility right there. I will say I don't think that the combination of Scizor and Glimmora being your hazard removers is a problem, because as someone who drafts Scizor in just about every league I draft, I will say that it is totally fine to rely on it as your defogger. However, it is good to have a secondary spinner next to it, and Glimmora achieves that. So another Pokemon I've drafted in the past. So I do think the pairing of those two is solid hazard removal. So I think that's fine. The priority, like Scorpion said, is next level on this team. This is hands down the best priority we've seen of any of these teams. So that is pretty incredible. Terra Captain setup, obviously the Terra Necrozma is amazing. It speaks for itself. The pivoting on this team is a little weird, because like you've got Gliscor and Scizor, those are solid pivots, but there are few pivots, but they're solid pivots. I guess you have Baton Pass if you wanted to, although I guess on Darkspawn maybe, but So that's fine. I think it's passable. And then flip turn Palafin, so that's passable. The real negatives of this team, in my opinion, number one, I want to say, and I'm actually going to agree completely with something that Al said, and I'm surprised that Scorpion didn't lean more into it, is that I don't think this team supports Palafin very well. So you guys may recall, as Scorpion has drafted Palafin in the past in this league and succeeded with it, I have drafted Palafin in the past in this league and failed with it. And so the biggest reason for that difference, in my estimation, is the fact that when he drafted with it, he really built the team well around it, as to when I drafted with it, I really didn't build the team very well around it to support it. I just drafted it because I thought it was a strong Mon. So having said that, I do kind of agree with Al's point that I don't feel like this team supports Palafin very well, in the sense that, yes, the hazard game is good and the hazard removal game is good enough, but it doesn't feel like you're going to, there's not a lot of bulk on this team, so it doesn't feel like you're going to switch something in that's not going to get punished for getting that 0 to hero activated. Now, is that a huge deal breaker? No, I think there are, pieces in play that will, that can help it, but I definitely would like to see Palafin better supported on this team, especially speaking from experience of having not done that. So that is definitely a negative for me. Probably just as big as that, I would say, is the Terra Point mismanagement, which is something that Scorpion did say. So I 100% agree with that. The Terra Point mismanagement, same thing as the last team we looked at. Terra Toucanon, like, for all the memes, Toucanon is not a very good Pokemon in my opinion, and making it a Terra Captain is, I feel like that definitely could have been played a little bit better. There could have been, like, because Necrozma is 22 points, I believe, the same as, if I'm not mistaken, 22 points. Yeah, so it's the same point value as the last team we looked at, the Terra Hydrapple, at 22 points. So you could very easily have a 6, 7, or 8 point Terra Captain as your secondary Terra Captain that is a really, really solid Mon that could back Necrozma up as your secondary Terra Captain and not a Toucanon. So I do think that that's, 6 unused Terra points is definitely a mismanagement of the Terra points there for sure. This team is kind of sort of, like, I don't even want to say it's top heavy, because, like, it is a little bit, but, like, the Pokemon that he's drafted as, like, to fill the gap are not bad Pokemon. Like, Electivire, not a bad Pokemon. Darkspun, not a bad Pokemon. Mismagius, not a bad Pokemon. Virizion, not a bad Pokemon. So I think that's fine the way that he set that up. But yeah, I think that's probably all I have to say about this team. I do like this team a lot, but there are those two things that I do think kind of hold it back a bit. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about that.
Yeah, good points. Let's get the ranking out. I do personally think this is A. Just depends a little bit on where. What do you guys think?
I would also agree with you. I think that's probably an A tier team. It's hard to place because it depends on how big of a deal you think the Palafin support is. So if it's a big deal, I would put it as a lower A. But if it's not as big of a deal, I would maybe put it more toward the middle of A. So that would be. But I'm not sure what the answer to that question is, because it's not like there's no support for Palafin. There's nice hazard support for Palafin, which is good. But I'm not sure. So probably either low or mid A would be my pick. What do you think, Al?
I'm gonna say, I think low A. I think it's, I don't know. I think that's what I'd say.
Makes sense. Right, we're back. Sorry, I forgot to add the logo, but that team is then going into low A tier. And with that, we're gonna move on with the Italian Inkays, coached by King Bara. Whose turn is it? B-Nard or Al? It's not mine.
I think it's Al.
Okay, Al, take it away.
It's my turn. I have to talk about Mr. King Bara. Okay.
King Bara.
No, it's not. Why would I say like that? Okay. Well, Cinderace is not showing his weaknesses and resistances on my chart, so I have to use my brain.
Here you go. Don't fail. I believe he has a clean weakness chart. I believe if 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, he absolutely does. He totally does. And not only that, there's a lot of green. There's not even many neutral things. There's a lot of green. Speed tiers are pretty much perfect if I'm being honest. 80, 70. Well, a little weird with the 70, 70, 50, 50 at the bottom, but I mean, that doesn't matter at the bottom. It's mostly the top that you gotta worry about. And obviously, I'm going to be a big fan of the Terra Captains. We got... he traded, it's no longer Meloetta, but it is now Terra Azumarill, devastatingly lethal physical attacker, and Terra Kilowattrel. Last season he had Kilowattrel, I believe, as well as the Terra Captain, and it did very good. There's no reason to believe he won't do the same amount of damage this time. For hazards, Skarmory is very good at it. Obviously, Stealth Rock and Spikes. Donphan is very good at using Stealth Rock. You cannot one-shot it because it has Sturdy. You can't stop it from getting Stealth Rocks unless you taunt it or something like that. His only removal is the Donphan, but again, it's really good at it. That being your only removal is not that bad. It actually likes to run Rapid Spin, and it does it very well. It can kind of punish the Ghost types that comes in because it does have knockoff, and of course it has priority. We got a very annoying bulky. This is kind of, he builds, I feel like, similar to me with the bulk, and he's got Skarmory and Goodra, and those two together are very good because, I mean, the fire and electric moves that are going to go for Skarmory, Goodra can eat them all day long because they're mostly going to be special attackers. Flare Blitz, maybe not, but then guess what? You have a Milotic or an Azumarill or a Donphan. There you go. There's a lot. Cinderace as his round one. I was speaking to him directly about this. I'm not Cinderace's biggest fan as a round one, but I absolutely understand that it is very good. We got a Healing Wish and Shaman to heal up any of these bulky monsters that I just spoke about. And if you hear thunder outside, it is thunderstorming now. Where's my priority list? There it is. We got Aqua Jet, of course. We got Ice Shard Donphan, and Sucker Punch Cinderace and Sucker Punch Bisharp as the viable ones. We got Quick Attack on a few things, but we don't really count those. Overall, I think it's extremely good. It might be my favorite team in the league, if I'm being honest. It might be, aside from mine, of course, because I can't diss my own. But ignoring my bias.
How objective of you?
How objective? Yes. Ignoring my bias, I think it very well might be my favorite team. The only thing I have a problem really is that there's two water types. At least they are very different roles, though. We got very offensive Terra Captain Azumarill and very bulky pivoting and hazing Milotic. Very two different water types. Aside from that, that's it. I can't even think of many things to tear apart here. I don't really have anything that I have a problem with. So if someone please jump in and tell me what you have a problem with. I believe
I want to jump in, but I don't know that I can really tell you what I have a problem with, because honestly I don't really have a problem with much of anything on this team. So
there you go.
Here's the thing. I will say, if we're talking about bias, I will say that my boy Goodra has been drafted round 4 by King Bra, my final opponent on Scarlet and Violet to this date. So I'm happy to see that, maybe a little bit of a passing of the torch, so to speak. So yeah, I'm really, really impressed with this team. I don't know that I have, spoiler alert, any negative to say about it, because the thing that you may have forgotten as well is that, well, technically Donphan is his only rapid spinner. He's got Court Change Cinderace, so it doesn't.
I did forget this.
It doesn't even matter that Donphan's his only spinner, because he's got Court Change Cinderace. He's got pretty much a perfect type chart, like you said. He's got great priority with Cinderace, Donphan, Azumarill, Bisharp. He's got a really solid hazard game with Skarmory, Bisharp, Donphan, even Gengar with Toxic Spike, which is not necessary, but it's an option if he wants it. Pivots are solid too. Cinderace and Kilowattrel alone are solid pivots, but Milotic is, or not Milotic, Meloetta, is a pivot as well. Baton Pass on Shaman, and then Flip Turn on Milotic if you want to. Terra Captain's really, really solid, like you said. Azumarill, Kilowattrel is one of those Pokemon that really benefits from Terra. I mean, Azumarill, there's nothing more to say about that. It's just a menace. But Kilowattrel is one of those fast electric types that really benefits from Terra, so that's solid. And I'll be honest, this is maybe the only team on this list that I have nothing negative to say about. I can't think of anything negative to say about this. Like, I wouldn't even call drafting multiple Pokemon of the same type a negative. Like, I got nothing, Scorpion. If you got something, I got nothing.
I got you. No, I completely do agree with you guys in the sense that I think this team is fundamentally excellent all around. I think I'm just going to say it right. I think this is the best team in the league. I think King Burr did an incredible job with it. I know he got some help with it, but still, incredible job. Everything is in place. One thing I really like about this team, which is more of a personal preference, I think it's super easy to go wrong with Bishop on your draft. A lot of people, I feel like, draft this thing as a steel type, as a rocker, as a priority. They think, oh, good roll compression, but it's actually really slow. It's not good at setting rocks, and its typing is super exploitable, especially when you don't make it a Terra Captain. But King Burr predated with Skarmory, who's another steel type which can set rocks. So the Bishop is free to do what it does best, which is Swords Dancing up and being backup priority. It's not even like it's the only form of priority either, because like you said, we have Protean, Sucker Punch, and Cinderace, and Terra, Aqua, Azumarill, which is more than sufficient. So this is the ethical Bishop team, if that makes sense, which I love. Yes. So very good choice there. I'm just gonna say it, what I think is the only very minor downside of this team, and that's the reason why, even though I think it's the best team in the league, it's not really a team that I actually would be super comfortable drafting, but that's more because I'm the HO guy. There's not a lot of setup on this team. There's Belly Drum on Azumarill, which by all accounts it does do better as a Terra Captain, because it's, you can Terra to prevent yourself from taking a big hit and Belly Drum up. You do have Calm Mind Milotic, or not Milotic. Does Milotic get Calm Mind? Doesn't matter, so I'm going to run it. SD Bishop, Calm Mind Meloetta is what I was going to say, and Swords Down Cinderace. But none of these Pokemon traditionally love clicking these moves. Same with Nasty Plot Gengar. It's very risky to go for these type of moves. I feel like King Bra is going to be forced to just click buttons with a lot of these Pokemon. Now, is that a fundamental flaw of the team? Absolutely not. Can you get away with it, with that? Absolutely. It's just that if I had to pick the tiniest of nits of this team, that would be it. But is that enough to keep it out of S tier? No. Is that enough for me to say that this team is beyond excellent? Or not beyond excellent, sorry?
Yes.
No. I think this team is incredible, but that's the only nitpick I had. Let's get to ranking it.
Yep. I think we already said it all. Yeah, this is the top of the pile so far. This is S, and I don't know that I haven't fully looked through everything else or fully thought about everything else, but I don't see anything getting better than this. This is well done, King Burra, or King Bura, or King Burra, whatever you want to call yourself. You can call yourself the man. You can
he is him.
You can call yourself the man who impressed us all and got your team ranked probably number 1 this season.
Yep. Well, with that, we're actually going to move on to another team that I think very highly of personally. We're going to look at the Grand Lake Garchomps, coached by Stefan.
Yes, I think it's my turn to go first.
Go for it.
Yes. So, so obviously Stefan, veteran of draft in here at BHDL, he opened up with a pick that no one can blame him for. That is the Iron Treads pick. So really, really solid Pokemon to build the draft around. One of the better spinners in the game for sure. No questions asked there. I may have a little bit of a lower opinion of this team than you, but there are a lot of positives on this team. So I really like the speed on this team, the speed tiers. So I like the fact that it kind of steps down a little bit, obviously with the Noivern at the top and then stepping down. He's got, I always appreciate when teams have like even their slower, quote unquote, slower Pokemon are still in like the 80s or the 90s with like the Hisuian Samurott and the Arcanine. And the Pheasantipity, which is really bulky but also deceptively fast too. So I do appreciate that about it. I like that about the team. I do like the pivoting options on this team. So you've got a lot of utility options, not only with pivot. So you've got Decidueye, you've got the aforementioned Pheasantipity, you've got Noivern, you've got the aforementioned Iron Treads and the Iron Hand. So a lot of pivots. Also, I think just about every Pokemon on this team gets a pivot. I think it's like what, 8 out of 10 Pokemon or 7 out of 10 Pokemon on this team gets a pivot, something like. So it's the pivoting options are insane on this team, and I really do think that is optimal. Hazard removal options are really, really solid too, because you've got Iron Treads, which is one of the best spinners in the game, but then you've also got that backed up with the Noivern and the Decidueye. So for me personally, I think he would have been fine with just either one of those two, but he has both. So both paired with the Iron Tread is pretty incredible. The hazards, like at first glance, they feel like they're lacking a little bit, because if you look at his team stats, he has no Spiker and no Toxic Spiker. However, he does have aforementioned Hisuian Samurott with its Ceaseless Edge, so that kind of fixes that issue. Still no Toxic Spikes, no Sticky Web. That's a little bit of a negative for me, but it's not the end of the world. On the flip side, there are some negatives with this team. So the biggest one that sticks out to me right away is the ground weakness. So this team has a pretty massive ground weakness. You've got, I think it's 5 ground weaknesses on this team, and you've only got, I want to say, 3 resistances to it or immunities.
That is correct.
Now, unfortunately or fortunately, one of the ground weaknesses is his one Terra Captain, but one of his immunities is his other Terra Captain. So that's kind of a mixed bag. But ground is extremely spammable and exploitable into this team, so that is a big negative for me. The Terra Captains are like, they're kind of, they're a mixed bag for me, because like I do think they can both be very good Terra Captains, but so there is versatility in that, but at the same time, like neither one of them feel like I don't know what the word I would say, like neither one of them feel like a premier Terra Captain to me. Like they both feel like good Terra Captains, but neither of them feel like great Terra Captains to me. So that's a little bit of a nit that I have to pick. But yeah, the type chart as well does not look the best. But this is a really solid team overall. I do think I know historically Stefan loves his hazards, and this is probably like less hazards than we usually see him draft, because wasn't it him that one season that had that team that like just about every freaking Pokemon could set a hazard? It was like something ridiculous like that a couple seasons ago, I want to say. But this is still passable for sure. Other thing I would say, priority is really solid on this team too, because you've got Extreme Speed Arcanine, you've got Sucker Punch and Shadow Sneak on Decidueye, you've got Celorock, Lycanroc, so that is really solid. I think Hisuian Samurott gets Aqua Jet too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, and Sucker Punch.
There you go.
And Sucker Punch, yeah, exactly. So the priority this is one of the few teams this season that the priority is really solid as well. So definitely some issues, but all in all, a really, really solid team. So, but what do you think, Scorpion?
Yeah, I agree with a lot. I personally, so the fact that the type chart is definitely, I think, where this team's flaws lie, which might be why I thought it was a lot better than I initially, because again, I didn't look at the type chart as much. There is one thing I actually have to beg to differ on, but that's entirely a me thing, entirely preference. I love the Terra Captains on this team. I think Terra Iron Hands, I think, is incredible. I've seen it win multiple leagues, and I think it's literally the #1 most underrated Pokemon in BHDL specifically. This one does not get enough love in our league. I don't think it's the first time Stefan has drafted Iron Hands, but I do think it's the first time he's drafted it as a Terra Captain. But I know he's used Terra Iron Hands to great success in other leagues himself as well. So I think Terra Iron Hands is incredible as a Pokemon. I think it's really, really strong and can build itself to beat basically anything. So I'm a big fan of that. And Noivern as well. I know Beardo did really well against me with a Terra Noivern in Season 1, and ever since then I've been opened up to I don't even think that was what he used against me, but I've just seen other people use it. The power of Choice Specs Terra Normal Boom Burst on Noivern is incredible.
Indeed.
So I actually, and again, because of the fact that Noivern is also a pretty incredible defensive piece, it gets Super Fang, it gets U-Turn, Defog, Roost, so you can go Terra Steel or whatever other defensive type you need and be a really solid pivot. I think the Terra Captain setup, like this might be my favorite setup of like 2 Terra Captains. Obviously we've seen other setup of 3, like for example with Al, I think, and with whoever, there was maybe one other person I think which we really liked it on, but this is I think one of, if not the best setup of 2 Terra Captains where they're incredibly well managed, so I like that a lot. Other than that, for the type chart, there's a lot of the fundamentals of this team are in place. I actually don't have many weaknesses on this team, like at all. However, there is one sort of question that I had because I'm not really seeing it, but maybe Al can help me with that. Where's the physical wall on this team? Like, we can have Phesandipity's special defense is incredible, but other than that, like Iron Treads, Iron Defense, maybe. Like, who's the physical wall here? Not sure about that. I mean, I guess Arcanine with Intimidate, Will-O-Wisp, you can take a physical hit, but most physical attackers are like, rock and ground type. So good luck. That's, I guess, my only real nitpick. But that's not like a fundamental issue with Route. Again, I think all the hazards, the priority, the speed, all of that is in place. So I think this is actually a really, really powerful team. And yeah, the only real major downsides are in the type chart. But again, I also definitely freaking love the Terra Captains. But what do you think, Al?
Don't get me wrong. Like, I don't hate the Terra Captain setup on this team. I do think they are good. It's just maybe I have a lower opinion of Iron Hands than you or most people. But I don't know. I'm not a big Iron Hands foot guy. But sorry, go ahead, Al.
I am a big Iron Hands guy. I think I'm with Scorpion on this one. I think the 2 Terra Captains are absolutely devastating. If Iron Hands, I hope he uses... So one of my favorite status moves is Charge. I hope he uses Charge, Iron Hands, because I think that really helps it, because it has a very bad special defense, but its physical defense is so good. So I really think he can make use of that move. So I kind of hope to see it, especially as a Terra Captain. And as for your physical defense question, Scorpion, I see... On the average stats, I see an average defense of 85 and an average special defense of 84.
Oh,
so they're,
wow.
I guess, about the same. But I do kind of agree. It does, without looking at the average stats, it does kind of look like there's not too much physical defense, but like you said, Arcanine and Iron Treads. About that ground weakness, not only is it literally there, but his defensive guys, his big defensive guys, we got Iron Treads, Pheasantipity, and Arcanine. Those are the big defensive guys. Obviously, we got Dunsparce as well. But 3 of those guys are all weak to ground, and none of those 3 are a Terra Captain. And I think that'll make breaking through his bulk easier. Now, we got stuff like Decidueye can be defensive, and Dunsparce is obviously can be very defensive, and Iron Hands as well. Iron Hands is also weak to ground. Of course, it tears out of it, but on first appearance. So I think that ground weakness is actually kind of a little big. And I want to compliment the longevity, though. Ignoring that, he has a lot of healing moves. He's got Roost on Noivern, Pheasantipity, Dunsparce, and Decidueye. Latios can recover, and Arcanine can Morning Sun. So he has a lot of just staying in the game and just healing forever, which is pretty good in my eyes. We got down here. We already spoke about the priority. I think it's pretty good. I mean, Extreme Speed Arcanine. Extreme Speed is a very fun move. SL Rock is Lycanrocs, just bread and butter. It's pretty much always going to have that. And it pretty much is always going to have that. I can't really think of a reason why it wouldn't have it unless it absolutely needs coverage. So priority is fantastic. Like I said, longevity. We got a lot of pivoting. I think he could do very well with it, and I like the team. Iron Hands will not die in one shot, really. Maybe a special attack, but even then. And then the Drain Punch just does so much damage with its monstrous. I think it's 140. Yeah, 140 attack. It's just... It does a lot. So I think it's well put together. The speed tiers are there. yeah, I don't have too much to complain except for that ground weakness is kind of like the big thing that
Another thing that I want to slide in there quickly while you're talking about the type charts that I just saw is that there's a pretty big fairy weakness on this team too, because he's upside down, I think, 4-3, but like, you know, and granted, his some of his biggest guys like the Latios, the Samurott, they're very weak as well. The Noivern can tear it out of it technically, but that's also kind of an issue.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I noticed that too. I just didn't mention it. Like you said, I mean, Iron Hands and Noivern are part of those Terra weaknesses. They can tear out of him. And also his 3 resistance are the bulky guys I mentioned. We got Iron Shreds, Sensitivity, and Arcanine,
So maybe
all
not-
resist Fairy. It's
so maybe
not ideal.
as big of an issue. Yeah, it's not as big of an issue as
big.
the ground weakness, but it's not ideal for sure.
It's still, I guess, it's worth mentioning. And there also is an ice one. There is an ice weakness as well, a little bit. We got Decidueye, Latios, and Noivern to Arcanine and Samurott. But again, I mean, Arcanine is going to absorb that, and Noivern can tear out of it. So it's really not a big of a deal. This is mostly that ground one. But you guys pretty much said everything else I already wanted to say on it.
Let's get it ranked.
Sounds good.
What are we thinking? I'm personally thinking like
So-
top of A or low S.
Yeah, I actually feel the same way. It's hard for me to, because so for me, if I don't look at the type chart, I think this is probably an S tier team. But if I look at and you guys know me, I'm a big type chart guy. But so if I do look at the type chart, I'm like, I can't, I get there are ways around like the ice weakness or the fairy weakness, but that still forces you to commit to doing that. That still forces you to run a Terra that counters that in a sense. So I don't know. I think to me, I would put it at the top of A personally, because I think the type chart thing is too big to, especially the ground weakness is just too big for me to ignore. So I would say top of A, but that's just me.
Yep.
I would say top of A as well. I'm also a big type chart guy, and the ground is pretty big. I just can't ignore it.
Yeah.
I'd say top of A.
Makes a lot of sense. I agree. Alright, next up gonna be the Machesney Park Slowpokes, coached by APRader54. And I hope
You mean Adam, also known as a Praetor from the Discord server? Go ahead and join the Discord server. It's supposed to go
No.
opinion.
Too late.
Oh,
Well, can I talk about this team?
Got
Because
it.
there's a Totera there.
Please do.
you can do it. You can do it. By all means.
Alright, so this team is S tier. There's a Totera on it. Free league win. Moving on.
Oh, there we go.
I
Chinchino on it, pre S tier.
Oh,
I
true.
should have known. No. Ooh.
True.
And Corviknight. Oh, this is totally a free S tier. What am I?
Yeah, exactly. You got it, Al. Wait, is there a fabled B-Nard mod on here? A Grimstar, maybe?
Actually, there's not. No, there's nothing there. There's no fabled B-Nard mon on this.
Oh no, wait,
on this
because
list, unfortunately.
Grimstar was with you the season you fumbled it, right?
I crashed and
Yeah.
burned, yes, but it was with me. But it was with me the next season that I did okay. So it broke even, but I don't think that's enough to call it a fabled B-Nard mon.
No,
but,
not at all. No.
I did find a shiny, but
that's
still
epic.
not enough.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yes,
At least you could use it well in Pokemon Champions if you transfer it over.
yeah, it could.
Anyway.
That's true.
Yeah, so Thunderwave. Okay, just gonna get
L. Alright, Adam's team here. This team is freaking scary, dude. This team has rightfully picked round 1 Terra Mew at the center. Brandon won last season with it. It wasn't the kill leader or anything, but he did do really well with it. And a Praetor, if we know anything about him, he has the wildest mind when it comes to set variety. This is literally his perfect round 1 pick, in my opinion. So I think he's going to pilot it as well as Brandon did. He's gonna cook. I also think this team, with between screens on Grimmsnarl, problem that we saw an earlier team have, where the HO build wasn't very well supported. This team, on the other hand, definitely has it. We've got a nice little pivot with Corviknight, love that. And then we've also just got scary offense in general, dude. We've got Ceruledges is a pretty big threat. Urshifu Rapid Strike, I'm always afraid of that thing. Kyurem, dude, Urshifu and Kyurem on the same team, send help. We've got a Shell Smash Torterra. We've got a Terra Yanmega, which I know sparked a huge argument in the chat. There was
how you're promoting non-Shell Smash or non-Terra Shell Smash Torterra like that, but go on.
Sorry, what did you say?
I said I love how you're promoting non-Terra Shell Smash Torterra so hard, but go on.
Hey, listen, he's the one who took Corviknight, and that's the best counter to it. Like, what do you... I mean, King Bear's got Skarmory, but how else are you, like, reliably countering a Shell Smash Torterra? Torterra doesn't need Terra to function, hello? Like, it's a lot better with it, yeah, I agree.
It's unstoppable.
Yeah,
it's unstoppable.
Yes, facts, exactly.
L
will win.
What do you do? Like, yeah, geez, what are you doing? Putting it at however low points it is. It should be like, 19
It
points
should be
or
like
whatever.
25 points. Yeah, like what's going on here?
It should be banned.
Exactly.
Anyway, moving on. The Therian Mega, I know there was a lot of controversy around it. I personally think Therian Mega is pretty good. Alongside Terra Mew, not entirely sure about it, because I think Mew just does what Young Mega does mostly, but better outside of speed boost and I agree. Baton Blast is banned, so can't do that. But it's still a respectable threat in its own right, and I think, unironically, even though Yan Mega is mostly known as a special attacker, I know some people have tried to run Swords Dance on it before, which I guess isn't terrible, maybe? I mean, it's a cool idea. Don't know if you're going to run
Sounds
it, but
fine
still,
to me.
yeah. But it's still a cool and good Terra Captain, in my opinion. I do like Yan Mega. It's one of the few bug types I actually do like. And then Toxtricity, Cinccino, again, more offense. You've got the Tidy Up as well, alongside the default Corviknight. Looks pretty good there. Speed tiers a little bit on this team are a little bit awkward, because we have 115 on Cinccino and then 100 on Mew. I mean, technically just in the 15 threshold, but also means we have nothing fast in it. Like, just the fact that the Iron Valiant outspeeds this whole team by default could be a little rough. We also... Please correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, never mind. I know Mew... Okay, never mind. Cinccino gets it as well. I was wondering, is Mew the only knockoff user on this team? But no, I know Cinccino gets it as well. I guess that's a little bit better. I don't...
Yep.
I don't...
Does Ceruledge not get it?
No,
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Ceruledge does not get it, no. I know that for a fact.
Okay.
My only real kind of another issue I have with this team is that we technically have two Rockers, but on this team, Torterra definitely wants to be Shell Smash, and Mew is not going to run Stealth Rock. Like, let's just be reasonable here. That thing's move pull is as fast as the ocean. It's not worth it. So we kind of struggle in the hazards department, because Mew is also your only spiker. And I know this is an issue with Brandon's team as well last season, and he did literally one with it, so I don't know, maybe April can get away with it as well. But I still don't love it, especially, again, on a very hyper-offensive build. Again, Torterra, Urshifu Rapid Strike, Ceruledge, Kyurem, all of these, and even Terra Mew itself, all of these mons definitely do appreciate hazard support. So that could be a little rough. I know technically we, because our hazard removal options are Tidy Up and Defog, I know technically we are always going to get rid of our own hazards if we want to get rid of them to begin with. But still, I don't think it's quite optimal. But maybe a Praetor drafted Torterra for the Stealth Rock, and he's just going to use it more for that. Which, I mean, if you do, more power to you. You know, I also love me some defensive Torterra. Nothing wrong with that. I don't know. This team for me is awkward, because when I look at like roll compression and the way it's structured, I actually think it's pretty solid. But I definitely feel like, especially type chart wise, and also in other aspects, I feel like I don't know, I feel like I'm missing something that doesn't make it as optimal as it maybe should be, but I'll leave that to you guys to discover.
What do you say, Al?
Well, if we want to talk about site chart, I will immediately talk about the rock weakness. Now, I understand Torterra is worth 19 points, but it's just not going to come to every single game. So, which means his rock resistance is going to be the Urshifu, and then we got 3 guys that are weak to it. Yon Mega get Terra out of it, but it would have to come in before Stealth Rocks go up to Terra, or it would have to just be Heavy Duty Boots, which either one, not ideal. Kyurem as a monster, from my experience last season, it can't run boots very often, because if it's physical, it kind of has to be loaded dice, because it doesn't get Icicle Crash or physical ice moves. It really doesn't like that. And the special attacking, it just barely does not enough damage to not run specs. So Kyurem is going to struggle with this rocks a little bit. The removal is good though. I mean, again, last season I had Corviknight to pair with Kyurem, and Corviknight is perfect. I think it's the best defogger. It's so good at it. You can't really stop it aside from taunt again. Fire weakness as well with that's Rapid Strike. Okay, there we go. It does resist it.
I didn't realize it was Rapid Strike. Sorry, it's the same model in my sprites. This him standing there, but it does resist fire with Ceruledge as well, resisting it. But then we also got a flying weakness with Corviknight. Can eat that though. Corviknight can eat the flying hits, and Toxtricity resists. Not too big of a deal on the weakness chart. Or Scorpion already mentioned the hazard game. It is like you don't have any options. Like, for example, I'm not going to worry about my Moltres coming in on rocks against this turn, or anything that's Time Sword weak to it, or even just regular weak to it. I think there's really nothing to worry about that. Longevity, we just got Roost on Corviknight and Synthesis Torterra, but again, it's not going to come to every game. But the pivoting is very good. We got U-turn on 5 guys. We got Cinccino, Corviknight, Mew can do it. Probably not going to. Maybe Urshifu, and Yanmega is a decent U-turn user with if it wants to be Tinted Lens. And then we got Volt Switch on Toxtricity, and then we got Party Shot Grimmsnarl. I think that's really good pivoting. I think he's going to have a good time getting in the right pieces. And priority is decent. We got Shadow Sneak and Aqua Jet. Is kind of the main stuff. Mew can do whatever it wants, of course, but even then, there's not that many TMs that teach you priority moves. But still, overall, I think it's scary. There's a lot of potential damage output if he can position correctly, which I think he can because he has so many pivoting options. And I know A-Prater likes to set up with a lot of things, and there is a lot. You already mentioned that, but there is a lot of setup threats. I never really run bulk up Corviknight, but I feel like he's going to do it like often, and pretty much everything on here can set up, except for I don't think Yanmega can, but I don't think so. But that's really kind of the and well, even Kyurem can, Giant Dance. Everything on here can set up pretty much. So I think it's fits him very well, and I think it's a good team. But what do you think? I don't have a clever nickname. Go ahead though.
That's okay. It's okay. You're gonna run out eventually. So yeah, I agree with most of the things that you guys said. So I will go a step farther with the hazard situation on this team than you guys did, and I will say I don't think he probably plans to bring hazards like ever, because I don't think that's a thought in his mind. I think the fact that the Pokemon that he drafted get hazards is just like a happenstance. Like I don't think he was probably just planning. So he was planning to just bring a bunch of other stuff. So your key to beating Adam, also known as a Praetor, from the Discord server, ladies and gentlemen, is to run 6 focus sashes. 6 focus sashes when you face him.
Six focus sashes versus 6 mirror herbs, like the battle commands.
Yeah, there you go.
So yeah, the hazard. If we're talking about negatives, the hazard game is easily the biggest negative of this team, in my opinion. The removal is fine because you've got Cinccino and Corviknight, most importantly, which I know I carve out exceptions to every rule, and Corviknight is probably the best defogger in the game. So it is very, even if that was his only hazard remover, it would probably be fine. But the fact that he has Cinccino as a backup is really good too. Pivoting is insane on this team. There's so many options. The one thing that's a little bit of a negative for me on this team is it doesn't like the speed tiers are a little weird, but also it feels like there's not a ton of immediate power on this team either. So you've got stuff like you guys mentioned, there's a lot of setup sweepers on this team and setup mons generally speaking on this team, but there's not a ton of stuff that's going to come in and be like a turn 1 threat. So that is a little bit of a negative to me, paired with like the awkward speed tiers. So you've got like Cinccino at 115, which like realistically, how many games is that going to see? Probably not a ton.
All of them.
Okay, well, yes, that and Torterra will be in every game. I know, right, guys? But realistically, like if you take Cinccino out of the equation, your fastest Pokemon is Mew, speed tier 100. So that is that in and of itself is actually a pretty big negative to me, because that means that he's pretty much guaranteed to go second. Like every first turn, he's pretty much guaranteed to go second, and that is a little bit of a negative. But he does have a lot of Pokemon that hover around in the 90s and the 80s. So he's got, the Urshifu, the what do I usually call it that I get crucified for? Kyurem.
Oh man.
Oh, not again.
Yeah. Jeez.
Not again.
Yeah.
The return of Kyurem. Yes.
No.
Kyurem.
What? Kyurem?
Yes.
Kyurem.
Thank you.
Kyurem.
I just said that because I knew it was wrong that time. But no, so that's the speed tiers are a little bit awkward because of that. But other than that, Terra Mew, I will be the first to admit that I was made a believer last season in Terra Mew, because I remember I was definitely a person on the PRs last season who was a heavy doubter of Terra Mew, because I hadn't really encountered too many people that had used Mew in that capacity. But Brandon definitely did it justice. He won with Terra Mew, and so I think that Adam can definitely do the same. It is definitely better. Like, Terra setup Mew is definitely better than I gave it credit for 100%. And I will admit that. So I think that's amazing. The Terra Captain Yanmega is kind of meh to me. Like, that's really whatever. Like, I do like Yanmega is a fine Pokemon, but like, I don't know how much Terra actually benefits it. So I'm not sure. It gets rid of that awful bug flying typing, but it's still paper thin defenses, so I don't know. I think Mew will obviously be the Terra play like 90% of the time, but I do also like how he's got like the Gen 8 OU going on there with the Corviknight, Grimmsnarl, and Urshifu Rapid, so there's that. But yeah, no, this is a really solid team. I do have those like, the only, like, how do I put this, there's not a lot of negatives to this team, but there's a lot of like strange things about that. I think this is what Scorpion was trying to say, is that there's not a lot of like outright negatives about this team, but there are like strange things about this team, like the power issue and the speed issue. And I do think the type chart is a little bit of an issue with the rock weakness, as Al had mentioned too. But yeah, I don't know. It's this is another strange one for me to rank. So I could easily see this team doing very well, but I could also easily see this team getting outpaced because of the lack of speed on it. And if the opponents can outpace him in the early goings of the game and either set up before him or get whatever strategy they have into play beforehand, then that could be a rough time for him. Like, this is one of those teams where it feels like you're not really going to be able to play from behind very well. I don't know. It's a strange one. So
let's get to ranking it.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
I personally think it's like a high B. I think as a team style in general, it just has enough holding it back. Whereas like I think the teams we put in A tier are like fundamentally a bit stronger, perhaps. But I don't know.
Yeah, I would agree with that. No, I would agree with top of B, because it is a really strong team, but there are those flaws on paper. Like the fact that this team pretty much has no hazard game at all is a problem. Unless because like the fact, like, you're not going to bring. I don't think you're going to bring Terra hazard stack Mew let alone, you might do that once, but like bringing that every week, it's not going to happen. And outside of like, if Mew is a setup sweeper because it's a Terra Captain, then your only hazards are Stealth Rock, Torterra, and Toxic Spikes Toxtricity. So this team basically has no hazard game, and the speed, like I said, without Chinchino, your fastest speed tier is 100. So I think probably B would be where this team belongs.
Yeah, that seems about right to me. That's absolutely correct. I believe so.
All right, let's freaking move on. I want to whiz through this a little bit because it's almost like midnight over here. We still got 5 teams to go? Oh god.
We're in trouble, but we're going to try to finish as quick as we can.
Yeah, we're almost at the 3-hour mark. All right, next up is going to be another newcomer, Linz, coach of the Floaroma town Furret, which also has the mascot Terra Furret on it, which has been has been appropriately named Bingus. I've heard that's apparently this Furret's nickname, which I think is adorable. Terra Bingus. Whose turn is it?
It's me, I believe.
All right, go for it.
I think. This team is an interesting one. I mean, I know I say that a lot, but so opened up with and we, I think it's interesting, like when you get toward the, definitely down toward the end of the draft pool, like, in round one, obviously, like you want to draft a Pokemon that you can build the rest of your squad around. And so it's like it's difficult, like when you're down in those lower spots, because a lot of the premier threats are already taken. But having said that, she opened up with Zapdos, which is one of the best defensive pieces you could ask for. So pairing that with the Keldeo is actually a pairing that I really, really like, because you've got the Zapdos to resist you've got the Keldeo to resist the rock that Zapdos is weak to. You've got Zapdos to resist some of Keldeo's weaknesses. So like flying. So I like that pair up a lot. I will say that. I feel like drafting, like, I don't know, Screamtail is an interesting one for me because it's a great support Pokemon, don't get me wrong, but I question like drafting it so early. I don't know about that, but I like the Hisuian Gudra, I like the Entei. Terra Hoopa Unbound is another Pokemon that, like, it could be devastating or it could be nothing. Like, that's the way I feel about it. So it's really, it depends on how you position it and how you build it. But that's kind of my feeling on Terra Hoopa, is it could sweep your opponent or it could just do nothing and die. So I don't know. We'll see. But I do like the composition of the team, actually, just on paper. It's another 3 Terra Captain setup. I do like the Terra Captain setup on this team, actually. And I'm not just saying that because of the memes of Terra Furret and Jack from season 2. Our old boy, Just Weevil. But I don't. Was Furret a Terra Captain when he drafted it? I don't even remember.
I think it was, yeah.
If it wasn't, then oh my god. But it's Furret's one of those Pokemon that, like, I would go out on a limb and say without Terra it's completely useless, and with Terra it's like a little less useless, but like it's like its base stats are like
the worst. Terra Bingus is built different, trust.
Well, we'll see. But I hope I haven't just made an enemy by saying this. But but that's honestly, that's not that big of a deal, because it is like, whenever you have a 3 Terra Captain setup like this, it's just a Terra Captain because it can be, right? Like, you're not banking your hopes and dreams on winning on Terra Furret, like that's not, I'm sure that's not how this team was built, so I'm not worried about it. It's what I like to call a because you can Terra Captain. So I think that's totally fine. Honestly, I don't like the Terra Captain setup is still strange, even granted that, because like Terra Mudsdale, like, as someone who is a very avid Mudsdale user, I will say I don't really know how much Mudsdale benefits from Terra, especially with Terra Preview. Like, I don't think that it's a Pokemon that really benefits all that much from Terra. So as much as I love Mudsdale and I love to see it, another former Philadelphia Pidgey being drafted onto another team, I don't know how useful it is as a Terra Captain. But I will say that it's a good Pokemon, I'll say that. So another thing I will say about this team that I like is the pivot option. And so there are a lot of pivots on this team. You've got Forretress, Zapdos, the Furret, the aforementioned Furret. There's a lot of baton passers potentially on this team as well, so that's fine. Flip turn Keldeo as well. So there are definitely some positives on the negative side of this team. So I'm going to start this off with an unconventional negative, and I'm going to say I think one of the bigger negatives of this team is the fact that it is too reliant on Forretress. So if you look at the hazard game on this team, Forretress is one of 3 Stealth Rockers. That's totally fine. No issues there. The other 2, Mudsdale and Screamtail, very reliable. But Forretress is your only Spiker, your only Toxic Spiker, and your only hazard removal. That is a lot of freaking weight to put on Forretress right there, because Forretress, while it is a good Pokemon, I will never say that it's not a good Pokemon, because it is. That is a lot of pressure to put on Forretress. So I don't like that part of the team. I don't like the team being built so heavily on top of Forretress. Although I guess if you were going to build something on top of something, you would want it to be a fortress, pun intended. But I do think that
Very good.
I think you're laughing at me was funnier than the actual joke, but that's all good. But yeah, I do think that it is one of those things that Forretress is not like, it's a good Pokemon, but it's not like an A level top tier Pokemon by any stretch. So I do think that that's too much weight to put on Forretress to carry. Additionally, the speed tiers on this team are very funnily kind of tiered. So there's nothing that's like super fast on this team, which I think is kind of a problem, because you've got Screamtail at 111, but then you've got Keldeo at 108. So you've got nothing higher than base 111, which is kind of an issue. But the tiers themselves are actually pretty good, because then you drop down to 100, 90, 80, 70, 60, and so on. So that's fine. There's no issues there. But yeah, just the fact that there's not like an ultra fast threat on the team is kind of an issue for me. Priority wise, this team's got like solid priority going on, so that's good. So you've got I think Keldeo gets Vacuum Wave, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And then you've got the extreme speed Entei. So that I think Furret might get Fake Out, right? Something like that. So at least I hope it does. Dear God.
I don't think so.
No, don't tell me that.
Stab quick attack though.
Yeah, there you go.
Why does it not get Fake Out? It's a normal type. Whatever. All right.
Yeah, but his little hands are tiny little. Whatever. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's fine. So I do think the hazard game is fine enough on this team. Or sorry, not the hazard game. The priority game is fine enough on this team. So yeah, there are. I don't know. There's some awkward things about it. Like I don't think it's a bad team by any stretch of the imagination, but there are definitely some awkward things about it. But what do you think about it, Scorpion?
Yeah, you mentioned a lot of what I was going to say already. I'm really going to start keeping my points short and sweet, because I want to go to bed. What I like about this team a lot is that this team buys a lot of time for Terra Hoopa Unbound to go crazy. I think Terra Hoopa Unbound is actually another really unexplored Pokemon. It's definitely something that I considered drafting many times in the past, just never had room for it. But I really personally do actually like it. I think like Choice Band, Terra Dog, Hyperspace Fury one-shots literally freaking everything in this game. You can go physical, you can go special with this Pokemon, you can set up, there's a lot of things you can do with this Pokemon, and I think the fact that we have Screamtail, Hisuian Gudra, Fortress, Sinistcha, Okidogi, Mudsdale, like we've got a lot of Zapdos, I can't forget that. We have a lot of walls and pivoting and stuff like that to buy time for Hoopa Unbound to do its thing. So I think not only is Hoopa Unbound a really great Terra captain, but I think it's also very well placed on this team. I don't hate Terra Mudsdale. I think Terra Mudsdale is alright. I think changing it to like a poison type or a water type or some other really good defensive typing is always a plus. And speaking of that, actually, this team doesn't have a bulky water type, which I think it could have potentially used. So Terra Water Mudsdale I think could be useful. I also really like the idea of having Sinistcha in combination with the good hazard tethers on this team. Spike's obviously being the only one on Fortress, maybe a bit awkward, but at least we have it. And we've got two rockers, so we can still start we can still put rocks on Mudsdale, spikes on Fortress, spin block with Sinistcha, and then go crazy with Keldeo and Hoopa Unbound, right? So I like that vision too. Fundamentally strong team, honestly. I do quite like it. I dig the Entei. I think round 1 Zapdos maybe was a little bit early, but I could see that Linz had a bit of a vision for it, and I definitely don't think it was a terrible choice, far from it. Yeah, honestly, the only real issue that I have with this team is I typically like teams like this to have a bulky water type as well, like I said. Again, you can patch that with Mudsdale, but that means that Hoopa Unbound isn't Terra, so it's a little bit awkward. But it's not a huge deal. And again, I also completely agree with what B-Nard was saying earlier about Fortress. I think Fortress is such a noob trap in draft. Not that Linz is a noob or anything, but I'm referring to it in the fact that, like, similar to Bishop, it's one of those low-tier steel types where it has a lot of roll compression, and it's easy to get, like, laid back because you have it and think, oh, that means I don't have to worry about those rolls much elsewhere, whereas I think you should. But so it being your only spit, like, I don't think it's a huge issue in the hazards department because Fortress loves running spikes and we have acceptable rockers on this team. So like you can very easily pit spikes and stuff on Fortress and then leave the rocking to someone else. I just think that rapid spin being the only one, like this team is going to get spin blocked and hazard stacked on super easily, which, I mean, yeah, sure, we technically have tidy up Furret as well, but like, you know, I have.
I almost forgot about that actually.
I have faith in Bingus. Don't take me wrong. I am a Bingus believer, but like, I don't know. It does make it a little bit awkward. So yeah, a few minor weaknesses, but overall, I do think this team is very solid. What say you, Al?
I pretty much agree with most you guys said. I just want to emphasize a few things about the speed. The fastest thing is 111, but it is a Screamtail, which, I mean, the reason why you'd want to run speed on it is probably Encore, but for the most part, you probably don't want to run speed, so the fastest thing really is going to be that Keldeo. And I personally, this is just a personal take, without Terra, I don't think Keldeo's that good. It just doesn't have the coverage that I like.
Controversy in the comments. I can feel it coming.
No, that is
There we
actually
go.
true though. I don't know if you've seen Caldeo's move, but its coverage is actually pretty awful.
No, I know. I actually kind of. I don't think it's a fraud, but like I do agree that it's way better with Terra than it is without Terra. Like it's a big jump.
Yeah. Like, for example, it is like one of the very few water types that does not get good ice coverage. I'm pretty sure it just does Icy Wind.
Yep.
And that's
correct.
just
No ice.
it's
Beam.
just not. It's not good. Now, it used to be her Terra Captain. She switched it to Hoopa Unbound, and Hoopa Unbound is obviously a monstrous thing with Terra, but I personally liked it better the other way around. I liked Keldeo better as a Terra Captain because I think it really makes it goes from being like, okay, whatever, I can just ignore it with my grass type, to now I want to kind of have one or two pieces to worry about it, but it's kind of fine. And then the type chart is pretty decent. We got a minor ground and flying weakness, but the big one to see is Ghost. Ghost is neutral against everything with Screamtail and Sinistcha, two your bulky guys that are weak to it, and the only thing that is immune to it is the Furret. Aside from Furret, it's just going completely clean Shadow Ball spamming into the team. Aside from, I mean, Gudra Hisui can absorb Shadow Balls all day long, but
Bingus MVP.
it's still neutral. Yes, so without the Furret, Ghost is completely free. And I also wanted to compliment just the pair of Zapdos and Hisui and Gudra together is extremely hard to break, because Gudra's obviously weak to fighting and ground. Zapdos resists those. Zapdos is weak to ice and rock. I mean, Gudra resists rock and it's neutral to ice, but ice is
Perfect interactions. Love it.
yeah, it's a good pairing. I like those two together a lot. So I do like the team together. It's just the speed is a little not there for me. Terra Captains, like I said, it's just because maybe it's because she had Keldeo Terra first, and then I just felt negatively when she switched it. That's why it's like fresh in my mind. But it's fine. It's fine. And then the Ghost. So I do like the team still, but it's there's just those few things about it. So
that Ghost spam could be a real problem, though. I'm glad you pointed that out.
Yeah. I'm not really sure who has a Ghost type. There's Mr. Kingborough's Gengar. That's the one I'm trying to think of. I'm trying to think of if Ghost is like a big thing that people have drafted in this particular season.
Even if it's not, you can just go Terra Ghost, Terra Blast on anything.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
TC. So it's always going to be a worry.
Yeah, there you go. Didn't think about that. Yeah, you can just Terra Blast Ghost. Especially because if you Terra Blast, you can be physical, which you'll kind of get past that. The Gudra that can ignore the Shadow Balls. Let's go ahead and tear it up.
Yeah, so this was a hard one for me. Like my knee-jerk reaction is I want to say B tier, because it's definitely not a bad team. It's definitely got some solid positives going for it, but I think there's definitely a lot of nits to pick with it as well. What do you guys think?
Yeah, very low A, top of B makes the most sense to me.
Oh man. Okay, I'll go with. I'll do the A. I'll do the bottom of A. I think Maybe that's fine. No, I'll pick B. I'm sorry. I choose B.
Right, changing it on the fly.
Final answer.
Yes, that's my final answer. That's it. That's done. I don't have to think about it because Mr. Scorpion
Yes.
is staying up late.
Please
Do
help.
this.
Next up, fellow
Send help.
commissioner.
Sorry.
Fellow commissioner Brandon, reigning champion of last season, with
Whoever this chump is, I don't know. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
what?
I said whoever this chump is.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. Making fun of him.
Oh, if this person's a chump, then what's the rest like? This is the person everyone's comparing to, because they want
Yes,
to
so
take the
having
title.
I was just kidding.
Given the
I was
fact that
just
he called him a chump, but you're up, Al. So talk about it. Let's talk
Oh.
about it, Al.
Go
Oh,
for
it's
it.
me? Oh, okay. I'll
Yes.
go first. All right. Lots of scary, like massive, like immediate. So like a Praetor's team is a lot of setup. I think this one has got a lot of decent immediate damage with like the Terra Ogerpon Wellspring just using Ivy Cudgel is gonna just do so much damage. We got Rillaboom instantly is a problem on the field, and of course Chiyu right away. All of those three guys are a big problem right away as soon as they hit the field, and especially because of course Brandon has sticky webs. I don't remember a time where he has not had sticky webs, but he has that there with a lot of guys with that immediate pressure. Speed looks pretty good. He's got a lot of fast guys. He's got over half his team is 100 or higher, which is just crazy. So he hardly even needs the webs, but they're just kind of there to kind of counter an opposing Scarf that wants to be sneaky, especially if you have a Wellspring who is forced into an item and is weak to being scarfed against, if that makes sense. Sticky Webs helps with that. We have a little minor, again, I can't see Sneasler for some reason, doesn't have its weaknesses and resistances listed, but I know it doesn't resist fire, so he's a little weak to fire, with Chiyu and Cyclozar that resist it. Those are, what was the term again? The fake fire resist? Is that what it was called? Is that the thing that you guys were saying in previous?
Yeah, fake fire resist.
Fake fire resist.
I think it became a meme after I said it in. I think it was season 3 when I had a Specs Hisui and Typhlosion against Chris, and because Houndoom was his only fire resist, I said in the team builder, like, his team is what I like to call having fake fire resist, and then people made it a meme.
There you go. Well, shall use it again because Cyclozar is good with an assault vest, of course, so it can resist those fire type moves still and take it well, especially with Regenerator. Ice is a little weakness on his team as well. I see 5 weaknesses and 2 resistances to ice, which is a big deal. Of course, once Ogerpon tears into water, oh sorry, I see 4. For some reason it lists Ogerpon as ice weak here. That's weird.
Is it because
I don't know why it says
grass?
Ogerpon. Yeah, I don't know. It's still Wellspring form, but for some reason it lists it as being weak to ice. I don't know why that's the case. So he's got 4 to 2. But once he tears Wellspring into water, of course, he then resists it, and he will tear it into water. Yeah. And then minor rock weakness. I see 3 to. Oh, sorry, it's not counting Sneasler, so that's a neutral rock. I've already complimented the speed. It's very good. The hazards, for some reason, is not listing Palossand with having Stealth Rock, but I know it does. I don't know why it doesn't list it, but it does. But I believe, if that's the case, is that the only Stealth?
That's correct.
That's it. Just Palossand. And that's not going to come in every single game. Just like last season, I believe Brandon had this. But Klefki is great with spikes. It pretty much, unless it's set up, it's always going to have spikes. It's not going to come to every game, but when it does. And then there's Toxic Spikes. Sneasler, which Capt B-Nard did against you, I believe, Scorpion. If that's correct. Toxic Spikes Sneasler.
Oh no, I do not want to talk about it.
The niche plays.
The niche there.
I did not bring
and
my
then the pivoting is also
did not bring my grounded poison type that week, and I paid for it.
Well, listen, I don't blame you for not expecting Toxic Spike Sneasler. That's just Yeah. And then
Indeed.
pivoting, again, Wellspring is not listed here, but I know it has U-turn, but then that's just 2 pivots. There's no volt switches. Oh no. Okay, it's not using Bike. Okay, my dock is broken for some reason because it's not listed Bikeable either.
Just stop quoting the doc.
Nice
because
doc.
It's broken. Nice doc,
Oh.
fool.
Nice dock. I'm sorry, I'm not using my intelligence, and I'm using my eyes instead.
It's all right.
no.
It's all right.
And
Push
I went
forward, you
first
can
on
do
this
it.
one. And the
I
dock
know.
is failing me.
Okay.
Okay.
It happens.
Secondary Terra Captain Alcremie is also good. I believe that's the secondary Terra Captain. It's immune to Encore. It can set up with, Calm Mind and Acid Armor. It's pretty good, honestly. I think it is. I don't know if it's underrated. I don't know how everyone else feels about it, but I think it's pretty good. Vikavolt is there, monstrous 145. I've been watching it in an Ancient League, actually, and offensive Vikavolt is actually it's pretty cool. I like the team overall. I think it's just raw damage as soon as something hits the field. Not too many things like set up. Obviously Ogerpon can set up. Not too many things. That was a wince of pain, if that wasn't clear. And then
it wasn't. But thanks for clearing that up.
Oh, I could hear it. I could feel it.
Shift Gear Cyclozar, we got Swords Dance Sneasler. Swords Dance Rillaboom. Actually, there is a lot of setting up and Klefki. So never mind. It's actually pretty well balanced with just offensive stuff. Bulk, not really there for my standards. Not too many things that want to take too many hits. Actually, not really many things at all. We got Palossand and Alcremie kind of as the big things that kind of want to take hits, and Klefki just because it has such a great defensive typing. Everything else there just...
Lack of bulk on the
Pardon?
Brandon team is interesting because he's had some star allegations in the past.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's actually... You're absolutely correct. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. But yeah, not very many things want to take hits for this. So what he's going to have to do to win games, in my opinion, is just he's going to need the control and the pressure at all times, really. If he loses it, it's going to be really hard for him to go on the back foot, because if he goes on the back foot at all, he probably has to throw a mon away to kind of get back into it. So I have no experience with offensive teams, but hyper offensive teams, kind of like what this is here. But I know he can do it, and we've worked with it. I've seen a lot of his games. He gets the sticky webs up, and he's good at with having that control. But of course, I'm not taking player skill into account. But I have faith that it can be done, just looking at the team. So who's after me? The captain.
Yes.
What do you think?
Whoever you want to pass it to. All right. So
Whoever I want to pass it to. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Scorpion. I picked the captain.
you don't have to pick me, but since you did pick me,
Oh, go for it.
I'll keep my thoughts. I'll try to keep my thoughts briefer because I want to help Scorpion go to sleep. So
I appreciate you.
Try. So, I agree with most of what you said. So this team, fast as hell. Holy shit! Like you said, half the team has over 100 base speed. That is crazy. And these are not just like not Pokemon that can't hit hard as well. Like you've got Chi-Yu. Espeon hits decently hard. Ogerpon, obviously Terra is going to hit even harder. And then Sneasler, my God, is there anyone in BHDL more familiar with Sneasler than me? I don't think so. But also he's drafted like the one terrain setter with Sneasler that I never did, and that was Rillaboom. And just so you know, the main reason I never have is because I didn't want to have my terrain setter also weak to like flying, so that's why I never did. But anyway. So there was a reason, but anyway, so yeah, so this team is really fast and really good at putting a lot of damage on the board. So that's going to be hard for a lot of teams to deal with. It's also good at setting up, like you said, so that's a big plus to this team as well. On the flip side, like you said, I agree completely. There's not much of a defensive backbone on this team, so if you do get on the quote-unquote back foot, as we like to say, there's not, like, he's going to have a hard time coming back into the game if he does get on the back foot. So I think his strategy is just hit hard, hit fast, crazy amount of pivots on this team too. So he's going to want to do that as well to kind of keep the momentum going. So it's just like facing this team will be a matter of trying to break his momentum, and that's going to be way easier said than done. I do think that the hazard game on this team is like, it's okay. Like it's not amazing, but it's not terrible. I think the fact that he has pretty much one solid Mon that does everything, that's definitely enough. Like he does it, like he has a Stealth Rocker, 2 Spikers, a Toxic Spiker, and a Sticky Webber. So I think that's definitely good enough. Like he doesn't have multiples of anything really, but he does have, because I don't think that Ogerpon Wellspring particularly often likes to run spikes. I think it's more Cornerstone that likes to run that. So if you factor that out of the equation, then he has like one solid, reliable hazard setter of every hazard, and I think that's good enough. I'll say the same thing I always say when I see the team, because inevitably, and usually it's always Scorpion, but inevitably I always see the team that has the only spinner being Cyclizar on it, and I'll say the same thing that I say every time I see it, and that's that I don't think it's enough. I think Cyclizar is a great spinner. It is a premier spinner, 100%, no question, and it is close to being enough, but I would really like to see like a throwaway, like maybe defogger or some sort of secondary hazard removal. Like give me a Furret, for God's sake, you know.
I mean, he has Magic Bounce
Sorry,
Espeon. I don't know if that's enough, but
oh, that is right. Yes, he does have Magic Bounce Espeon, so that does help too. Actually, that is correct. So yeah, but it is a really solid team. I do think priority is also pretty good for this team too, because you've got the Grassy Glide on Rillaboom if you want to do that. You've got Fake Out on Sneasler if you want to do that. So it's I guess it's not like the greatest, but it's not awful either. The one thing, I guess, Quick Attack Ogerpon's a thing also. One thing I will say that I'm sure is, this is something else I usually say that's a disagreement with everybody else, is that I'm not the biggest fan of like Terra Ogerpon, and the reason that I say that is because one of the biggest benefits to the Terra mechanic is type change, is being able to, and if there wasn't Terra Preview, it would be to change to an unknown type and get that gotcha advantage on that first turn that it happens. But even without that, like being able to change your type and get additional move coverage and flip your type charts and all that stuff is very, very valuable. And when it comes to Ogerpon, you sacrifice that for obviously a very powerful Pokemon, but you're still sacrificing that tactical advantage, which is something that I don't like. I also will say, while I really like Alcremie as a Pokemon, I don't know that it's that great of a Pokemon. Like, it's an okay Pokemon. So there's like, to me, when I look at this team, there's a lot of like really, really great stuff about it, and then there's also a lot of like, it's all right kind of stuff about it too. So, and then but there are very few negatives to the team as well. I know there's some type chart things you mentioned, but yeah, other than that, it is a really solid team, and you would expect no less from our returning champion. But please, Scorpion, take it away.
yeah, most of what I wanted to say has already been said. I do personally think the Palisade is your only rocker is a bit of a disadvantage. I personally always believe you should always have 2 rockers, because Palisade is slow, because when it comes to every game it can get taunted, and this team does look like it benefits quite a bit from rocks. I love the power on this team, lots of very powerful Pokemon. Obviously Rillaboom can easily go Bandit, Specs GU, Ogerpon Wellspring, goes bonk with its Ivy Cudgel, hits extremely hard. Couple minor downsides as well. Anything below base 100 has very little reason to run speed investment against this team, because Rillaboom likes to go bulky with its Grassy Glide, and then the next fastest Pokemon is like Klefki. Let's see here. So we have the speed investment below 100. You don't really have a reason to run speed investment unless you really desperately care about outspeeding Rillaboom, which could be an issue. One big positive, which I'm surprised you guys didn't mention, but I suppose that's something that's mainly used in overuse, like Smogon, is that Rillaboom has Grassy Glide, but so does Ogerpon, and these two are often paired together so that Ogerpon can use Grassy Glide. And I feel like that's definitely a big part of the vision with Brandon's team. I feel like he's going to use Ogerpon, put it in grassy terrain, give it that recovery, and then also make it able to use that powerful priority. Now again, I'm not sure how often you're going to want to run that, but it is an option, and it does do that alongside the Unburdened Sneasler. So I quite like the Rillaboom synergy on this team. Another Rillaboom synergy on this team, I think Terra Alchemy. Like, Ogerpon is perfectly usable without Terra, and Terra Alchemy with like a grassy seed that could start setting up Calm Mind could also be very scary, especially like Al said, it can't be Encored, which I didn't even know about, so thank you. But that's, I think, could also be quite a strong setup one. So I think Brandon's team very offensive. Again, given the stall allegations of him in the past, not going to be maybe quite his style, especially because he won with such a bulky team last season. It'll be interesting to see how he does it with this time. But I think the synergies on this team are very well thought out. The roles, by all accounts, except for the rockers, are still in place. And I don't think the speed tiers are a massive disadvantage, especially because at the top end, which is where it's most important, that's where they're perfectly in place. So that's not a problem. And we also have Unburdened Sneasler, so like the speed control in that regard, alongside webs, is also perfectly fine. Let's get to ranking this one. What are we thinking?
It's in A somewhere. It's in A on the middle, maybe. What do you think? Like
yeah,
that?
I would probably say middle to top of A. This is a really solid team. Like I said, a lot of firepower, a lot of speed. There are problems with it, like lacking the defensive pieces, but I'd say middle or top of A, but that's just me.
Yeah, makes sense. I'm going to put it in between Beardo and Lazy Boy, just to perfectly put it in the middle. Alright, little cut here, but we're back, and the next team we're going to look at is going to be the Charlotte Eiscue, coached by TK Sanity. So I'll start off with this one. I don't have my notes anymore, a bit of fourth wall breaking, so I'm going to do this completely blind. What I think I remember writing out about this team is I really liked the core of Raging Bolt and Iron Bundle plus Alola Ninetales. Both of these Pokemon benefit a lot from Snow, they benefit a lot from Aurora Veil, and obviously Iron Bundle gets 100% accurate Blizzards from it, and Raging Bolt gets an Ice-type Weather Ball, which it can use to destroy its most common enemies, which is Ground types. So I love seeing that. We also have pretty good speed tiers on this team. Obviously, I don't think it's really super necessary to have like a speed tier between Iron Bundle and Mousehold, especially because these Pokemon can very easily like flex their speed tiers. And the rest of it is quite good. We have two rockers and we have a reliable spiker, so the hazard situation is, in my opinion, just passable enough. I personally think two rockers, one spiker is the play. This team has exactly that, so that's good. Not 100% sure on the Terra Cats on this team. I don't hate Terra Jirachi, but I don't love it either, because the only real setup that Jirachi gets is like Calm Mind, Agility, maybe Power Herb, Meteor Beam, but Jirachi is, I don't know, very much used as a sort of like support piece, right? So it doesn't love running offensive sets. So I think for that reason it's a bit suboptimal. Terra Regidrago could be very scary though, obviously, with its Dragon Energy and getting the coverage to break through the Fairy types. So yeah, lots of cool little synergies. Hazard situation's alright. What's the hazard control in this team? Oh yeah, we have Tidy Up Mousehold. Is that the only one? Yeah, I think it is. That could be.
That is it. That's
only
it,
one.
Yeah, that could be an interesting situation. But again, I quite like the synergies on this team. It's very offensive. But what say you guys?
Al?
What? Me? Okay. I was absolutely gonna tear apart the non-Terra Mousehold being your only removal is bad news, especially with Iron Bundle as your round one. That is, and also you're running doubling down on Ice with the low Ninetales as well. There's also a significant Fairy weakness. I believe it's 3 weaknesses to 1 resist, which is the Terra Jirachi, which will most likely Terra out of that resistance. Actually, sorry, just kidding. Ogerpon is resistant to Fairy as well, so it's 3-2 with Terra Captain. They'll Terra out of it. The speed gap from 136 to 111 Mousehold, which probably won't come to most games, but Ogerpon will. 110 is a little bit there. There's it's significant. That's a significant drop.
We got your grounded poison, like I mentioned, the fairy doesn't resist fairy, which is fine. But Malolamuck is fantastic, though. There's no question. The Terra Captains you were talking about, I am very much afraid of the Regidrago Terra Captain. I think that's really good. I mean, its biggest weakness, just as a Pokemon, is that it really doesn't have too much coverage, aside from just kind of... It has a big dragon moves, and it's got ground and steel, of course. But adding the stab to those ground and steel moves is really going to help it kind of break through. And if you don't have... You have to bring your fairy to stop it from just clicking Dragon Energy and winning the game on its own. And as a Terra Captain, I think that's really good, especially because if you bring your fairy, you're weak to the Jirachi as well. And neither of them really have to Terra to be good. They can stand alone without it. Raging Bolt. Actually, maybe Raging Bolt was a round 1, and Iron Bundle was round 2, but it doesn't matter the order.
It was round 1, not Raging Bolt, yes.
Yeah, well, Raging Bolt is their biggest priority on the team we got. That's kind of like it, really, is just kind of the Thunderclap, and Thunderclap's not the most reliable thing. We obviously have some other random moves like Ice Shard on Alolan Ninetales. Not gonna happen, probably. And I don't think Alolan Muck is Shadow Sneak. Does it still get
It
Sneak?
does.
I believe it does.
I don't
Yeah,
know. Does
I think
it?
it does.
All right, well, there you go. There's that as well. But even then, that's obviously not non-stab 40 base power. With the Poison Touch, though, it's not bad. Small ground weakness, but Landorus can obviously come in on those all day long, especially with its ability. And aside from that, I mean, speed tiers, like I said, are good. Just it's not there. But yeah, I don't have much else to say. Mousehold is kind of
Alright.
the biggest problem for me is that hazard control.
Yeah, so I do definitely have a couple issues with this team as well. There are some big positives though. So obviously, Raging Bolt and the Iron Bundle hits so hard on the special side. One thing that I will say is that I don't see, I guess, Ogerpon, but I don't see a lot of physical firepower on this team. I guess Ogerpon, I guess Landorus, but that's kind of it, I think. So that's one little thing for me. I will say I agree with Scorpion. I like the synergy of Alolan Ninetales, because that's another big B-Nard-mon historically is Alolan Ninetales. So I like that synergy with Iron Bundle and Raging Bolt, because that's a really strong core for the team. But they are all special attackers pretty much. So it's it leaves something to be desired on the physical side, in my opinion. The pivots are amazing. You've got so many U-turners, baton passers, a flip turner, so that's all well and good. I will disagree with Scorpion a little bit, because I do think the hazard game on this team is lacking a little bit. Now, you do have two very viable rockers in Jirachi and Lando, aka the legendary YouTuber Joey Fontaine. Up again. Come on, you knew it was going to happen. Don't feel so
Yeah,
bad.
actually, I forgot about it entirely, if I'm being honest. But go ahead.
Sure. But anyway, so yeah, I think that's okay. But I don't know. The only spiker being Ogerpon Hearthflame, I don't really think that's great, because you can use spikes with Ogerpon Hearthflame, but like I don't know. I don't think that's the most optimal version of Ogerpon Hearthflame is with spikes. And then there's no toxic spiker and no sticky Weber. So I do actually think the hazard game is not very good on this team. But the biggest thing, as you guys pointed out, the biggest thing has to be the hazard removal game. Like, non-Terra Mousehold is the only form of hazard removal is abysmal, in my opinion. Like, that is absolutely abysmal. That might be, I'm not trying to sound mean about this, but I think this might be the worst hazard removal setup of any team we've seen is this one, because I can speak from experience when I say that Mousehold is generally not a very good Pokemon, and with Terra, it's really not. Like, it's especially in Scarlet and Violet, where there exists this item known as the Rocky Helmet. It is really not a very good Pokemon, in my opinion. I do like Mousehold personally, but I do think it is not a very good Pokemon. If that's your only form of hazard removal, you are going to get hazard stacked to hell with this team, honestly. The speed tiers are a little weird, but not bad, because you've got that big 136 iron bundle, but then it drops to like 110, 111, 109. Not in that order, obviously. But it's not bad. And then, like, aside from Muck is down in the 50s, but then Raging Bolt at 75 is the next slowest. So, like, speed doesn't really seem like a problem for this team. Although I do think with all those speed tiers in like the 80s, 90s, and 100s, it would probably benefit from Sticky Web, who would also fix the hazard game a little bit on this team. But yeah, I'm not sure like what Passimian is doing on this team. I feel like if you're going for like a fast physical attacker, it's going to be like Ogerpon Hearthflame 100% of the time. So I don't know really how much Passimian brings to the table on this team, except another fairy weakness, which I think you mentioned. There are some really rough fairy weaknesses on this team. But yeah, this is not a bad team, but there are definitely some issues with this team, I think. So, but
Another plug, just to throw it out there.
Sure.
Ogerpon cannot run heavy duty boots. It has to take 25%
Yes.
from the stealth rocks that will most likely be going up with only Mousehold as the removal.
Yes. So yeah, you are very, very susceptible to being hazard stacked. Yeah, your Ogerpon Hearthflame, your Iron Bundle, if it doesn't run boots, and your Alolan Ninetales, which definitely won't be running boots, are all going to be taking massive stealth rock chip. So yeah,
Alolan Ninetales is another big one because it wants Light Clay most of the time.
Yep. Either if it's not Light Clay, it's Focus Sash, unless it's B-Nard, and then it might be Choice Scarf. But
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, as far as ranking goes, what were you thinking, Scorpion, since you kicked it off?
Low B, maybe mid B, somewhere.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually going to say either low B or like high C, maybe, because the hazard game on this team is like a big negative for me personally. But I mean, I would put it either at the bottom of B or the top of C. I know the hazard game is not as big of a deal for you guys as it is for me, but with this.
No, listen. Well, maybe it's not as big as a deal, but I still think it's a huge deal. And even if I didn't think that's a huge deal, that's just Mousehold. That is pretty much stealth rocks are going up every game, and they will likely stay up. That is bad. So I'll go low B, if not C. That is like, yeah.
That's the range we're talking about. I guess you're the deciding factor, Scorpion. What do you say?
I think low B is a little. I think C is maybe a little bit harsh, but then that also means that Matzo is the only person we put in C. I'll put it high C. I think also it's.
I see. Well, we still got 2 more teams to go.
Yeah,
and,
I see. Is that what you said? That's funny.
Which is odd, by the way. Whose logo is the Denver Dragonites?
I think that's the wrong division.
I think so. I think I put that in by accident. Oh well. I think
this was the Eiscue. This was the Eiscue team.
Yeah, no, that's in there, and we have Chris and Zeus next. I think that might be someone else. I don't know.
We'll have to go back and look later. So I think it's me. I want to say is this last one, and then it's I wasn't sure.
Right,
no, it's Al. No, it's Al. I think it's
what? It's me?
No, because Scorpion. Oh no, you just did the. Now I'm. We've been doing this so long. I think it is
as well.
I think it is Al.
I did the Floaroma. I did the.
Wait, who started off with Brandon?
Oh, I started off with Brandon, right?
And he started off with Brandon. Yeah, so it's me, and then Al is the last one.
Go.
That's what it is.
All right, let's go for that then.
Okay, there we go.
Yes, we're in the stretch of putting us out of our misery, so here we go. So we got to a former champion here with it be Zeus and the Fire Gods of Anubis with a brand new logo. I don't know if it's on there or not.
It is.
I like the new one, but I also like the old one, so I don't know. I can't decide which one I like better, but it doesn't matter what I think.
I like the feature of Mega Lucario on this one. It's really clean.
That is fair. That is totally fair. So yeah, that could be the deciding factor. But former champion from a season past, season 6. And so yeah, I will say right off the cuff, I do like this team a lot. So Roaring Moon, Iron Moth, very, very powerhouse Pokemon to kick this draft off. Terra Iron Moth, no less. I mean, I know the power of not Terra Iron Moth. Scorpion knows the power of Terra Iron Moth.
Yep.
So
1 season 5.
Yeah, so it is no joke. It is a great Pokemon. Roaring Moon, great Pokemon as well. A lot of firepower there. Rotom Wash, a B-Nard classic, another one. Great defensive pivot. You've got the Tinkaton, very defensive as well. Cleavor. Cleavor's always been an awkward one for me in draft because like it's I don't know, it's awkward like fitting it on teams because like none of its stats, like its bulk is not great but its speed's not great either, so it's an awkward one, but it is a very valuable Pokemon for that Stone Axe as well. So hazard game on this team I think is actually really good. So you've got Cleavor, the aforementioned Cleavor, with Stone Axe, and then you've also got a bunch of rockers on this team. You've got your one Spiker, your one Toxic Spiker, and your one Sticky Webber. So I do think the hazard game is great on this team for both removal and setup, because you've got two very viable rapid spinners in Gorkle and Hitmontop, so that's really good. You've got Defog Cleavor, the Fabled. I don't know if anyone's ever run it, but I'd love to see I'd love to see someone run Defog Cleavor to do. I think it was the last Power Rankings video we did where we made the joke to say you should run Defog Cleavor and then you should defog and then Stone Axe. I want to see somebody do that so bad, but you know, maybe one day. But no, that is there. Decent pivoting options, so you know, a couple of U-turners, couple baton passers, a volt switcher, so some pretty decent options there. Speed wise, I think there's a pretty big gap, like, so you've got your Roaring Moon and your Iron Moth that are pretty high up, but then you've got a pretty big gap from Iron Moth to Tinkaton, so that's not great. That could be exploited, but again, not the end of the world. And then you've also got, I want to say, good priority on this team as well, because you've got Ice Shard, Mamoswine, Shadow Sneak, Dusk Noir, Mach Punch, Hitmontop, you know, and so there's solid priority on this team. So yeah, it's not a bad, definitely not a bad team. Type chart wise, I do think you're going to be upside down on a couple of types here. Just looking at it, I think you're probably going to be upside down on Flying. As a weakness, probably going to be upside down on maybe I guess if you count Think Fat, Mamoswine, maybe not Fire, but yeah, I definitely see a flying weakness on this team just right off the cuff. So that could be an issue, and yeah, but other than that, I don't think the type chart looks too bad here. But Al, what do you think about this team?
Type chart's pretty clean. You were correct. Flying, the other one would be, that's it, just flying, I believe.
Boom.
Just flying.
My eyes and my brain work just as well as your prep doc, maybe even better.
Yes, it is working even better. Wanna know why? Because the Iron Moth is not listed at all as having any weaknesses or resistances, so it is
nice
working out. But what I do see now, this isn't a red on the dock, but again, the Ghost is completely clean. Except for the Roaring Moon, of course. Roaring Moon doesn't want to come in just to take a Shadow Ball, so you could just kind of use Shadow Ball against him if you want to. He doesn't have a normal type or anything. Yeah.
And Roaring Moon, not the most defensive Pokemon in the world either.
No. Just as a real quick break in, you would be surprised. Go check Roaring Moon's special defense stat. It actually is pretty solid.
Yeah,
for no reason.
Sure, it's not terrible, but you don't want to just bring it in to absorb hits.
Nah,
you know?
No, you're right.
I sweep with that thing.
Oh.
But anyway, continue.
Fine, well, I'll say a Poltergeist then. Instead of a Shadow Ball, I'll say a Poltergeist. But then again. And then, well, I guess, okay, this is kind of random. If Roaring Moon is booster energy, then it's immune to Poltergeist. So, whatever.
There you go. That's a wild train of thought there, but go on.
Most of his team, this is another thing, most of his team is physical. Obviously, there's a Terra Iron Moth, they're just a big special attacking threat, and we got a Torkoal, which can hit hard in the sun, and Rotom. Everything else on his team is physical, which brings his attack average at 97, and his special attack average is 72. Pretty low, so he has to rely on that Iron Moth to bring down those physically
special
defensive, well, physically
Defensive
defensive
walls,
guys.
Indeed.
So, because Torkoal, I mean, you're probably not going to run offense on it. If you do, then, well, there you go. You got me. And Rotom as well, for the most part, is generally more support. Volt switching, I know Capt B-Nard likes his specs on it, but that's
I do.
usually not as common. But that is the thing. Pivoting
One of the
is-
reasons I like it.
is- Yeah, there you go. The sneaky specs,
There you go.
but only if you're not one-shotted by like an Urshifu or something.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Let's throw it in there. Thank you.
Did that happen? I don't even remember that.
It did. Literally when we played, your Rotom dropped turn 1 to my Urshifu.
Oh yeah, now I remember.
There you go.
I
There you
had
go.
forgotten.
Not to. Oh, of course, it was so traumatizing. You just had to erase it from.
That must be it. Yes, that is the only answer.
Oh, so I've traumatized both of you. Al with the Palafin and B-Nard with the Urshifu. Love it.
Oh, no, I don't know what you're talking about. But you know what? Didn't happen.
You were see. I think Al is the only one of the two of us that's actually traumatized because I legitimately forgot that happened, and Al like brought that Palafin thing up totally unprompted. It's like
It's very funny.
totally unprompted. Anyway, go on.
And he does have sticky web support, but other than that, his team is kind of a little slow. We got more than half his team is 80 or less, and this is not so
Yep.
bad. It's not too bad, but he does have sticky webs. A lot of guys are. I don't really see
Actually-
anything that likes using Trick Room. Sorry.
I actually do think that this team, like this is a team that actually on paper looks like it really benefits from sticky web. That is something I forgot to mention, but
Yeah, that
you
absolutely
brought it up.
that's true.
Yeah.
He's got good rockers. I'm not a big fan of Rapid Spin Torkoal. I don't believe it's fine, but the fact that it's weak to rock, I understand it can run boots, but then you're not running heat rock, so I don't really like it as a Rapid Spinner. But I do believe in Hitmon Top. On top is really good, so I think he can remove hazards just fine. And his fabled air quotes Cleavor, he's done it before in season 6. I think this maybe for his 1 week he participated last season. I think he might have had Cleavor as well. I think it might be the 3rd time he drafted it. Maybe I'll have to double check, but
I'll have to fact check it later.
yeah. And of course his legendary Chestnut, apparently kill leader in an Ubers league. I was not there, just heard about this moment. That is impressive, to say the least. Kill leader Chestnut in any format except for maybe low tier. I'd still be impressed, actually. But overall, I do like the team. Zeus and I like to trade words aggressively, all for fun, of course. But I do have to compliment his team. It is a good team. And yeah, what else? That wasn't the last one.
Scorpion, it's up to you.
Thank you. I'm gonna add nothing else to this explanation. 1, because I want to go to bed, but 2, because everything else already been said. The only thing about this team that I will say is that I kind of wish there was a better ghost type on this team than Dusk Noir, because I completely agree with you guys that this team benefits a lot from Sticky Web, and Araquanid is an S tier Sticky Web setter in my opinion, so it's kind of downplayed a little bit by the fact that you have to bring Dusk Noir if you want to consistently keep it up.
Yep.
And Cleavor appreciates that similar level of support. So I think that's the only real downside to this. Otherwise, I do think this is a very HO, or at least HO leading team, which is very well done. I do love the Sun mode on this. Terra Iron Moth and Roaring Moon under Sun go freaking stupid. And ironically, even the Dusk Noir has the role of spin blocker, but it can also set up Trick Room for Torkoal to go crazy with Specs Eruption in the Sun if he really wants to go that route. And I believe Dusk Noir gets Memento, so it can pivot out and get a free switch in. So that could come in the right matchup. So I think this team has quite a lot of cool modes as well. I like the build versatility. And once again, I think this is really Zeus' style. So I think he's going to pilot this really well. And yeah, I think it's a solid team. Nothing else to add. Let's rank it.
Oof. I think this is definitely. I think it's definitely an A tier team. I don't know if I would put it in S or not. It's probably high A, or maybe low S. It's hard for me to say. because there's not anything like seriously wrong with it. It might be a low S, but what do you think? What do you guys think?
I personally think
I was thinking,
like the style of this team, this sort of style of team, I think is a bit too volatile to put it in S. I still think high A I agree with, but I actually,
Sure.
I was gonna say
actually,
high A as well.
alright,
There you go.
I'm gonna put it right next to Stefan's team, and then final team.
And then there was one.
Yep.
I think it's Al's turn to take the lead on this, and Al, just so you know, you will be discussing the team of Chris, also known as Pokemaster88 from the Discord server. Go ahead and join the Discord server. It's the best place to go. Pokemon Scarlet Violet Division.
I was staying quiet
There's
because
the
I
link.
was waiting for it.
In the description down below.
I don't understand why it catches me off guard every single time.
Me
I
neither.
don't understand.
I don't know. No one knows.
Like-
but anyway, you
It's because
you
were
have the
not
floor,
around-
sir. Bring us home by talking about Pokemaster.
You were not around for the
I
Just
will.
Weevil era, so you don't know like who it applies to.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
That is also true.
There you go. There you go. There you go. Although I just heard rumors and people telling me. Anyway. Okay. Speed tiers are pretty good, except for the Talonflame. Talonflame's a little awkward. I'm not the biggest believer in Talonflame, but it being your fastest guy, 126, is all right. Then your second fastest guy is going to be the Ogerpon. This is an Ogerpon that can use an item, so that's all right. You don't have to. If it was any of the other Ogerpons, I'd say, well, you can just run a Scarf and outspeed their fastest guy. That's actually going to come to most games, but that's not the case this time. His type chart has got, again, this is 2 in a row, Ghost is pretty good. You can just kind of use Shadow Ball. You got only Urshifu that resists Shadow Ball, and Urshifu does not want to come in on those. Not really, especially, like, yeah, it just doesn't want to. It can, once or twice, it doesn't want to do it again. And then Ice a little bit, we got a little bit of a weakness, but Goldengo easily can come in on Freeze Dry and Ice Beam and all that stuff. And then Tentacruel is very special offensive, I believe a base 120 base special events, that is correct. Very much so can eat ice type moves. I say that ice is generally more special, but obviously there's some physical ice guys. So. But anyway, the Terra Captains I don't have listed. Is it Rhyperior and who's the other one?
Goldengo.
Goldengo.
Goldengo. Oh yeah, that's right. I remember that. That was a little bit of the conversation because it has such a good type. It's Steal a Ghost is such a good typing. It's a little awkward being a Terra Captain. I'm not sure if I like it yet. I'll have to see kind of what Wikemaster does with it. Obviously, before the nerf to Make It Rain, he could just run Terra Steel if he wants to, but Steel is not a very good offensive typing. It's just that move in particular is busted. So that can be done. And then we got good rockers. Mesprit is really good at it, really. And then Rhyperior as well. It can get it done because it's when Rhyperior comes in, you're gonna fear the weakness policy. That's the first thing that comes to my head when I see Rhyperior anyway. So it should, if he wants to be a rocker, be able to do that well. Removal, we got just Tentacruel, and Defog Talonflame as well. Obviously forced to run Boots if he wants to be removed, but that's just fine. Overall, I do think it's a pretty good team. I'm obviously a big fan of Dragonite. I love Dragonite. A minor, I guess, without Rhyperior, no, and Ampharos as his lower tier guys, a little bit electric, like volt switching can be done because Rhyperior. And the same problem with me. My ground type was a low point, so it's not going to come to every game. So maybe a little bit of volt switching spam. But overall, I do think it's pretty good. I do think it's a decent team. I do like it. I do like it a lot. I think Mesprit gets both screens to assist Dragonite, just kind of.
It does.
Dragon dancing, yeah, and I think Ampharos does as well, actually. And isn't Ampharos the third Terra Captain?
It's not.
Isn't that not
No,
right?
it is not.
It's not.
He must have done
No.
a transaction then, I swear. I think he must have.
I don't
I think
he
it was
doesn't have the
initially.
Terra point. Yeah, he doesn't have the points to make Ampharos a Terra Captain.
Okay. I think initially when he drafted it was a Terra Captain, and I do like Terra Ampharos, but it's not the case anymore. But Sylveon, I can't even ignore Sylveon. Wish Bashing, this time it actually is good HP. I believe it's 95. And it can Wish Pass to assist the stuff. But it's not exactly the bulkiest team in the world. They're all bulky things. They have a hard time healing, like Tentacruel. And Mesprit's not that bulky. Sylveon's kind of like his the backbone. So I think when Sylveon goes down, maybe there's a problem. But so it's a little bit too frail for my taste. But I personally, I like bulky teams a lot.
Yes.
But what do you
All right then.
pick? Scorpion?
What do you think,
then? Yeah.
Scorpion? I was gonna say,
Yeah,
ask Scorpion
what do you
before he
think?
passes out.
I'll pass to Scorpion.
Appreciate you guys. I'm good. The thing I like about this team, and the reason why I actually don't hate Terra Golden Go, is because Terra Golden Go, in conjunction with the Tentacruel, is very, pardon the pun, but a cruel core to face for the fairy types. These Pokemon are very difficult for the average fairy type to break. And Dragonite and Urshifu Single Strike benefit from that a lot. Obviously, you guys know I drafted Urshifu Single Strike round 1 last season. Big believer of this Pokemon, still am. So I have to shout it out. But I think that's a really cool synergy on this team. I also think the Hazard game is again just... I also quite like Terra Rhyperior, to be honest. I think Rhyperior is actually a very slept-on Terra Captain as well. I've seen it put in massive work on... I think in other leagues in the past, so quite a big fan of that as well. Again, utility on this team, in my opinion, also just good enough. We have 2 good rockers and a good spiker. I do think regular Ogerpon might be the best spiker out of all of them. Between the 4 Ogerpons, I think it's passable on this one. So I think that does pass as a good spiker. And I think we have we have Extreme Speed, D-Knight, we have Sucker Punch on Golden Coin, we have Gale-Wings, Talonflame, so the priority is very possible in this team as well. Again, I'm kind of struggling to think of weaknesses without my notes here, but honestly, I think this is also a really solid team. And one thing I want to commend Chris for is that while I'm not a huge fan of Terra Golden Go by itself, again, I think he's actually found a very justified choice with it on this team because of how well it supports Dragonite and Urshifu Single Strike. So quite a big fan of that. But what say you, Cap?
All right. So I agree with most of the stuff that I'll say I agree with some of the points one of you made and some of the points the other of you made. So first off, so this was probably the last team that was kind of like hard for me to rank in a sense, because I have like split opinions about some stuff. So like, for example, the speed tiers, like, okay, Talonflame, I've drafted it multiple times in my days of drafting, so I will say it's not awful, but it's not great. But without Terra, it's worse. So like, but to have that as your fastest Pokemon might be a problem, especially because your next fastest is an Ogerpon base form that also can't Terra. So speed might be, and then after that you've got Tentacruel, which is not like an offensive powerhouse by any stretch. So speed might be an issue for this team. This is another team that I think would massively benefit from a sticky web, which unfortunately he doesn't have. So it's not that it's bad, it's just maybe it could potentially be a problem. I do actually agree with Al, and in the sense that I actually don't like these Terra captains on this team at all. Like I don't like them at all. I think Goldengo's typing, being Ghost and Steel, is one of the best dual types in the game, so sacrificing that for a Terra is not worth it, in my opinion. Also, Rhyperior, maybe this is just personal experience, but I haven't really, like, either in casual play or draft league, I haven't really seen much out of Rhyperior. Like, I don't think very highly of Rhyperior as a Pokemon. I don't think it's very good. So I'm not a big fan. Like, if you're gonna draft it, it's better to have it as Terra, because the rock ground typing is awful. But even so, like, I don't know that I would have spent, like, I think, he spent like 16 points for Terra Goldengo and then like 12 for Terra Rhyperior or something like that. So that's a lot of Terra points to spend for what are, in my opinion, suboptimal Terras. Like Goldengo as a Terra is not bad, but I think it's far better as like the points would be better spent Terraing something else. That's my opinion. Just because that Ghost Steel typing is so good. And then Rhyperior, like I said, just not a big fan of that Mon, generally speaking. The hazard game on this team is actually fine, I think, though, because you've got the Mesprit and you've got two good rockers, Mesprit, and you have Rhyperior, which is not a great Mon, but it's a rocker. You've got this base form Ogerpon, I think, is definitely better at running spikes than the other two forms we looked at. So I think that's fine. Toxic spikes on Tentacruel is fine too. And I actually do think that the hazard removal on this team is fine as well, because you've got basically like you've got an okay Rapid Spinner and an okay Defogger, and I think that's good enough, honestly, because you do have that versatility. Like, I don't think either Talonflame or Tentacruel are amazing hazard removals, but they're both good enough paired with each other that I think it's fine. Pivot wise, that's fine too. You've got a lot of U-turners, Volt Switch, Baton Pass, Flip Turn, so you're good there. I don't really see the point of the Ampharos on this team. I think that's just kind of a throwaway. But it's not like I would definitely like to see a better electric type than Ampharos on this team, especially not Terra Ampharos. Ampharos is another Pokemon I don't really think very highly of. Now, and that's another like thing where if you didn't have to spend 12 freaking points on Terra Rhyperior, you would have a lot more points left over to do something with your last pick than not Terra Ampharos. You know what I mean? So I think that's kind of a missed opportunity there, a suboptimal setup. But other than that, I do think the team is fine. It's not like, obviously the Dragonite's always going to be a big threat. I do think, as someone who likes Mesprit and has drafted Mesprit multiple times, I think round 3 Mesprit's insane, personally. Drafting Mesprit round 3 is insane to me. Like, that's crazy.
Round 3 Mesprit and round 7 Urshifu Single Strike.
Yeah, that's insane.
Round 8 Urshifu Single Strike, even worse.
That is completely insane. Yeah, round 8 Urshifu Single Straight and round 3 Mesprit. That's completely insane.
You know why that's insane? It's insane because Urshifu Single Strike should just go undrafted entirely. That's why it's insane.
It has gone undrafted, to be fair, but I think drafting Mesprit that high is kind of insane to me, and it comes from Pokemaster no less. So he must have some vision on how to use that thing. I don't know. Like I said, I can tell you from experience, Pokemaster, you're not going to get what you want out of Mesprit. Trust me, I've tried on multiple occasions, and you're not, because it doesn't hit as hard as Azelf. It's not as bulky as Uxie. It's caught in the middle, and you want it to be more than it is so badly, but it's just not at the end of the day. So it's not a bad Pokemon, but it's not as good as what you think it is. That's my advice.
At least Mesprit is not a completely passive sitting duck like Cresselia is.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah, there you go. And it has this new signature move, Mystical Power, which is actually a very good move.
Yes, it is 100%. Like I said, not a bad Pokemon, but it is. I think it's not going to do as much for you as you think it's going to. Let's just put it that way. But all in all, definitely not a bad team. Not a bad team all in all, but there are some issues with it. So, as far as ranking goes, what do you guys think? Al, you took it first. What do you think? I didn't even really mention the type charts. I didn't even really mention the type charts, but I don't think the type charts are too bad too. But
I did mention type charts. I was talking about the Ghost and how Ghost is spammable except for Urshifu.
Yes, that is true.
But as for the rating goes, I'll go with. I was thinking probably top of. I just feel underwhelmed looking at it, so I'm going to say like top of B, something like that, maybe.
That feels right to me as well, for sure.
Yeah, I'm good with that. I do agree with you. There is something a little underwhelming just looking at it. Like it's not bad, but there's definitely things about it that you're just like, You know, like not bad, not great, just I guess, you know. So that seems right to me.
Yep.
There you go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it. That is the full Battle Hub Draft League Season 8 Scarlet and Violet Division power ranking. I'm pretty sure
Jesus
we
Christ.
tried to make it the goal of this video to make it the shortest, and it ended up being the longest. Just for a bit of fourth wall breaking, it is 15 minutes before midnight. I am tired. I need sleep. So we're going to end it there. But thank you guys so much, as always, for watching. We hope you enjoyed the power rankings. Thank you so much, Cap and Al, for your detailed insights. I think it turned out great. Yeah, feel free to say your closing words before we end the video.
We suffer for our craft. That's my closing thought. Is we suffer for our craft, and we hope you all enjoyed.
We do. We certainly suffer for our crust. I haven't eaten yet, and it's the 3:47 p.m. for me. Too bad for me. Whatever. That's fine. But yeah, smell you later, I'll say.
Indeed, that's a good one.
I think we need to stop trying to say that we are going to try and make it the shortest when we do these, because it ends up being the longest every time we say we're trying to make it the shortest. So that's my closing.
There you go. So just say that it will be the longest, and then it will be the shortest.
It's a straight up curse at this
Exactly. There you go.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to Cav and Al for their insights. Be sure to leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already for more BHL updates. And also stay tuned to the Champions Division, which honestly might go up before this one because I'm not going to edit and upload this tonight. So, but look forward to them. So thank you guys so much for watching, and peace out.